Welcome in. I forgot to pull up the music. Hold on. It's just gonna be eerily silent. But welcome in Estat and welcome in Gutham. Hope you guys are both doing well. How's everyone this weekend? It's quite warm here today. I got my baby fan. I think I need to go. My normal fan, my normal size fan is in the storage unit, so I need to go pick that up. I think. I don't think I'll survive this weekend without. It'll be nice to have a fan for sure. I wish I had AC, but I'll settle for a fan. And welcome in, Ratzi. How was BB? Was she everything you dreamed of? I'm jealous. Does that small fan work? I mean, it works in the sense that it's blowing air, yeah. It works like when you're like sitting at the desk. It's pretty effective actually. It's just more like it's not gonna like fan the whole room, you know, because it's very small. But if it's just for one person, it kind of works. It actually goes quite strong. I can't. Well, I guess I could demonstrate. Look, so this is normal, and then it goes quite strong. Like you can see it, like it blows quite a bit. Your Nike shoes are coming in on Monday. Let's go. Enjoy. In this upcoming week, we're in a Japanese festival, and you might eat a takoyaki, just one. They're pretty small. You should have at least like 6. You know, I bet you could eat like 12 takoyakis. You remember the dishwasher I helped carry a few weeks ago? It malfunctions. Had to help carry a replacement one today. Wow, you're just a dishwasher carrier. That's your new side hustle on the weekend, you know. And welcome in, Ricky. How are you? It doesn't make coffee. I wish it did. I have a coffee machine though. I don't really need to. I've been having iced coffee. You know it's warm out because I've been having iced coffee every morning. I'm like east facing, as you can see. Like the sun is shining in the morning, so it's actually really like when I wake up, it's the warmest. My house is the warmest like when I first wake up. I wake up and I'm like sweating already. And welcome in, Con. Happy weekend to you too. Is it chargeable? Yes, chargeable. She's funny. She confirmed she's not Illuminati. That's what Illuminati would say, Ratzi. Was I gonna say that? And a mochi, just one? You gotta eat more, man. And maybe they'll have the mochi ice cream. There's like ice cream with mochi, or sorry, no, mochi with ice cream inside. I'm guessing it's quite hot out. You're from the south, right? So it's probably really hot out. You would enjoy the mochi ice cream. Draconia is getting jacked just from there. People are like, "Oh, what's your workout plan, man?" You're like carrying dishwashers. Honestly, if you were a dishwasher delivery man, you would be pretty jacked, to be fair. Like, I'm sure, like, the delivery people are pretty strong. Or, like, I always think, like, you know, like, the garbage people. I guess maybe not the garbage people, because they're not manually lifting it. And Wakamin Cafe, you're good, but you read the newest Hunger Games movie, and you read the newest Hunger Games. You watched the movie, or you read the book? But I'm glad I'm pretty sure the new one is a book, right? Because the latest movie was the Songbird and Snakes, but then there's a Haymitch book, right? I actually would read that. I feel like I want to read that. You're gonna wait for such you might get it on Black Friday. Oh, that's pretty far away, but yeah. Doing good, getting a haircut in a bit. Enjoy. Did a mochi ice cream the other day. Was it Yukimi Daifuku? Maybe you won't know. It's like in the red package. You had a mochi donut last weekend. It's pretty. I love a good mochi donut. The good thing about me just is the event, they give you food sample, free food. That is the best. Construction workers are jacked. That's true. Yeah. Well, anyone in like a manual labor job. I'm like very spoiled, right? I work a very desk job kind of thing, but every time I'm driving it's like a really hot day, or like if it's like raining and I'm like driving past and there's this construction workers who like hold up a sign, I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. I'm like, I mean obviously like they're just working, but I'm like, oh no, they have to be outside in the sun. I'm like, it must be so hot. Like I don't like pity them. I just feel like I'm just like, man, it must be so hot out. Although it doesn't even get that hot in Vancouver. It must be worse for the construction workers in Texas. Binman just rolled the bin over to the thingy on the truck. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Actually, here, the garbage people are like, it's like a really highly sought after job. It's really hard to get in. Um, it's really, really hard to get in because it's such a good job. You get paid like 90, 100K a year. And it's like a hard job to be fair, but it's a really good job. It's like a government job, good benefits. So people like fight over it. You never seen a female garbage collector ever in any form, even in fiction. You never watched Parks and Rec? There was that episode of Parks and Rec where they're like, oh, there's no women in the garbage collecting, so then they go and do it. But yeah, it's probably hard to get into. I think some there's a lot of industries that are harder to get into as a woman, and like I think there's a lot of like social conditioning here, like oh these jobs are for men, you know. But there's no reason why women couldn't. They struggled doing it until the okay. To be fair, the garbage guys are a bit of a bit kind of they're kind of jerks, and they're like oh like move this massive fridge, and there's only two of them, right? So they're like we can't move this fridge. Like obviously, even like two guys would struggle to move like an industrial sized fridge. And then they call in like a female charity or something. I can't remember what the thing. I think it's like a group of women who run like a soup kitchen and then they all move it because there's like a bunch of them. You read the book Sunrise on the Reef? Yeah, the Hamish book. Actually, that does sound really interesting. I'm curious about Hamish's story. It was at a restaurant, so I don't know. Could have been. Don't think it was made at the place. They just served you like the one like the they just served you ice cream you could buy at like the convenience store. They probably made it themselves about the restaurant. Made you gonna go work in construction? I mean, no. Manual laborers are usually not jacked, but they're very strong. All their muscles are just functional. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like a huge thing from like Physical 100, right? Some people have a lot of muscles, but they look huge, but they're just for show, and they're not necessarily strong in terms of like being actually able to lift stuff or like that kind of stuff. So they're getting the Nike Dunks and running shoes. That's right, getting treadmills. Starting treadmills after you lift weights, gotta get the Miju abs. Yeah, I feel like a lot of abs, like a lot of abs thing is just like reducing the fat there. Because you could have really strong abs, you just can't see them. Garbage people get paid 100K. Yeah, I think it's like 90K at least. Like you start at that. It's a really good job. That's why like I don't think there's a stigma here around like I've never heard someone say like, "Oh, you're a garbage guy." Like, so sorry for you. Like everyone's like, "Damn, how'd you get that job?" The deal breaker for me is that the bin man starts the day really early. That's true. But you kind of done early as well. The guys also couldn't move. Yeah, the guys acted very like high and mighty. They're like, "Oh, just cause you like you're women, you're too weak to lift the thing." And then they're like, "Well, you guys can't do it either because it's like it's really heavy, you know? Like you need like many people to move that." You're on an episode of Parks and Rec? What? That's crazy. Like as an extra, or are you an actor? What are your thoughts on people who refer to Vancouver as the Coop? They're not from here. Yeah. If someone says van, if someone says van to refer to Vancouver, they're not from here. Like that's how you know. Like you could say Van City, if like it's not that common, but you can say Van City. But yeah, if someone says van, they're not from here. You could say like North Van, West Van, South Van, that kind of thing, but you cannot say just van. People will be like, "Oh, you're not from here." And welcome in, Grey Rat. You donate to World Hunger. It feels much better. You checked online what kind of food they serve. So they serve minimum quality. To give more people. Yeah, I guess to more important than taste. I'm sure it helps. I think it's always good to check. I think it's always good to check charities and see what they're actually doing. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to help people who are hungry, I don't I don't think they're making gourmet meals. You know, they're probably trying to be efficient with it. You have lots of apps too, just hidden behind your dad bod. Exactly, Ratsy. Cafe is actually Chris Pratt. No way. This whole time we had Mario. Mario in chat. Should I visit Van sometimes? Not with that attitude. An extra? That's cool. That's cool. I feel like I could do a lot of I could do a lot of extraing if I wanted to, but it's actually extraing is a lot of work. You have to be there like all day, right? You just have to like it's a lot of like waiting around. I understand yawning is done to increase your heart rate and keep you awake, but after yawning I get even more sleepy. Really? I never really I feel like if you're yawning you're already sleepy though, so that might be part of it. Pokemon is now playable. I know. I was actually really surprised to see. Like, obviously the pop-in, the pop-in is still a bit crazy. I was looking at the comparisons, but it's really smooth. It's compared to what it was before. Like before, when I played Pokemon Scarlet Violet, like I would be like when I played Pokemon Scarlet Violet, like I would need like half an hour to like adjust my eyes. You know, like for a while it would make me dizzy, and then like after a while you adjust your eyes. But then you go and play a different game, and you're like, what is this? Like, like literally, it's like a whole different plane of existence. You're Nick Offerman. I love Nick Offerman. My favorite. I love Parks and Rec. I mean, obviously, can you guys guess my favorite character in Parks and Rec? I feel like it's really obvious. But I would say Ron is like maybe tied for first, but or second. I love Ron. He's my role model. And you have 2 abs forming right now. That's fine. That's fine. You only need 2. But the famous black girl. Who's the famous black girl? Michelle Obama. No, I'm kidding. there's a lot of famous black women in Parks and Rec. I don't know. You'd love to be an extra. You aren't doing anything anyway. May as well meet some people. I don't know if you necessarily get to meet like the famous actor. You might like if they have time, but it yeah definitely takes a long time. My friend's dad was an extra in Godzilla. He like really wanted to do it. He already has a job. He was just like, I'm taking the day off. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be in Godzilla. We're like, okay, enjoy. Maybe I should have been maybe I should have been one of the people in the zombie horde in The Last of Us. I should have done that. But I feel like it seemed really cold, you know? I don't want to do that. You had to be in the cold and like not winter clothes. Because the zombies aren't wearing winter clothes. But it hits different. Oh, the tiredness hits different after. Okay. Rip the 1 FPS bears. Oh yeah. Are the windmills still low frame rate, or do the windmills spin like real windmills would? You think Leslie is my favorite character? No. I do love Leslie. I love all the characters. Almost all of the characters. Is there any characters I don't like? There's some I don't really care about that much. I definitely have my favorites. Ann Perkins. What about Ann Perkins? You think she's my favorite, or? I feel like you said that before I asked that. And welcome in, Danny. Meet Tornado Ron. True. Yeah, I don't think I ever could be Ron, but I would love to be Ron. You know. But I relate to him in many ways. The one thing you were there for 17 hours. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's tough being an extra. Your abs show more than mine, which I'm jealous. I'm just skinny. That doesn't mean I'm strong. If Major worked out more to get those abs, she could cosplay Kazuha really well. How do you even like cosplay a K-pop idol? They kind of just look like people, you know? Like what would you do, you know? April. Yeah, April's my favorite. I love him. The one guy in the first season they got rid of was kind of boring. Okay, true. We don't talk about season 1. It's just one of those things where like season 1 is the the best. Like they're not the best. And season one is just like you got to get through it to get to the good parts. You met the main actor. He was the nicest I ever met. Joel McHale. Joel McHale's from Community, but he's cool. He's cool. He's in like a lot of like like interview kind of things. What was he in recently? Oh, he was in Yellow Jackets. He just randomly showed up in Yellow Jacket. I did not like Yellow Jackets. I think it's season 3 now, or maybe season 2. The most recent season of Yellow Jackets. I was like, I didn't really like it, but Joel McHale was there. It was very. I was like, he just showed. He played like he played a he played a like outdoorsy survival man who was like really stoic. It was great. It was great. Um, you should do a Tifa cosplay. She already did a Tifa cosplay. I think that was a joke. I think dancing one of the choreos would be the actual cosplay. Yeah, like how do you realistically cosplay a real just like a person? They don't really have like it's not like a cartoon character where they're like it's not like Tifa. Tifa's always wearing the same clothes, right? Like so it's like it's a very distinct outfit to like wear her clothes and like all her she has like very unique accessories and stuff, right? But like if it's like Kazuo, like what would you even wear? Like she just looks like a person and she wears different clothes all the time. Like what would you what would you do? I have no idea. But yeah, so I feel like have you guys seen those people who do like K-pop idol transformation? Then they do like crazy makeup and then they look like the idol. I don't think I don't think I know how to do that. If I could do that, that'd be. But I think you have to already kind of look like them. You know, like I think from the start you got to look like them a little bit. Character either never have a bath or have 5 sets of the same outfit. I'm pretty sure they're not showering in Final Fantasy. Like, there's. Do you guys ever? Do you? I mean, we talked about this before, right? Where they're like, you watch The Last of Us, and then like, characters have like, they like kiss or they have like intimate moments, but like you're like, did you shower? Like everyone must be so stinky. Like, I cannot stop thinking about that in these kind of situations, you know. And I don't. I mean, I think they do shower sometimes in Final Fantasy. Like they stay at that hotel. Like I think they're showering at that hotel, you know. But like when they're just like going through, like in Baldur's Gate, they're not showering. If anything, they're jumping into the lake. Speaking pop culture, anyone listen to Sabrina Carpenter's new song? I have not. I don't really listen to Sabrina Carpenter. Your own stinkiness negates other people, but some people are stinkier than others. Maybe you need to find someone who's at the same level of stinkiness as you. You know? I guess they probably do bathe. They probably just like go into some body of water and like wash off, you know? They probably do. But there's some situations where I don't think they are. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't like what was I talking about? Yeah, I don't really keep up with the pop music. Even K-pop music, I haven't really been keeping up. Aegis level of stinkiness is nuclear. Yeah, no one can beat me. If you smell -6, a -12 would beat you. Yeah. That's what the dice rolling in D&D is all about. You do a dice roll for how stinky you are. Can you imagine? I'm sure you could play D&D like that. Major behind on K-pop and hearsay. I've been behind on K-pop for like 5 years. Wait, I don't think I was ever on top of K-pop, but like, it's too hard to keep up because there's just too much, right? Like there's a lot of K-pop all the time, you know. But I think it's like a new group debuts like every week. It's too much work to keep up with that. I just won't bother. If I listen to a song, if I find a new song and I'm like, oh, that's good, then I'll listen to it. But other than that, not really. Um, but yeah, it's I haven't been doing much this week except for I played chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune, and then once I finished chapter 4, I was like, thank God, I don't have to worry about spoilers anymore. Because I was like, if I could, I would just like take my time with it and like play it more slowly. But then I was like, oh, like I'm gonna get spoiled, and it's one of those games where like it's like a very very narrative driven, right? So it's like there's so many mysteries, there's so many big reveals, and I feel like it wouldn't hit the same if someone spoiled it. So I was like, I grinded it out. I don't think it was that long. I think it was like maybe like 6 7 hours, maybe something like that, maybe 8. Probably it probably would be less, but I really sucked. Like I don't know if the game got harder because like I never remembered having like issues. Like obviously like the most recent chapter of Deltarune came out like 5 years ago, so maybe stuff has changed since then. But maybe my gaming skills have declined because I've been yapping too much and not playing games. Because like I felt like my reaction speed was like way worse. Because I was playing like there's like bullet hell. Like the main combat is like bullet hell, and you have to like dodge all the things. Like it's like in a 2D plane, and I was just like getting hit by everything. I was like, and I wiped to like every main boss. And there's some bosses where I'm like, this is so hard. I was like, is this the secret boss? Like, did I accidentally reach the secret boss? Like, this is so hard. And then I googled it. It's like, no, it's not the secret boss. Just get good. I was like, okay. And I used like all my items. I was like, I feel like I don't remember in chapters 1 and 2 of Deltarune going to the shop and like filling out my inventory with healing items. Like I was truly potion queening in Deltarune. I don't know if I just got worse or like I don't know if I got worse or if the game got harder. I swear like the bosses are much harder. I thought Deltarune was finished, but then I found out about chapter 3 and 4 and thought, okay, now it's finished. No, I think there's gonna be 8 chapters. Which is a pretty good dollar value, to be fair. I'm assuming the next like 1 or 2 chapters will come out like a year from now, like next year, 2026. But I think like with a lot of these in like a lot of the indie developers who made it big, there's no rush for the second game, right? Because like when they make their first game, right? Like for example, Hollow Knight, Undertale, Stardew Valley, there is a bit of a rush, right? Because they're gonna run out of money, and they need to release the game. Yeah, exactly. Good example. Yeah, there's a bit of a time constraint on the first game, and they kind of just release it when it's good enough, when they're happy with it, right? But in these situations, like Undertale, Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight, they made so much money, right? Like they don't ever need to worry about money again, right? Like they are completely set for life. So then like with their second game, it's more of like a passion project, right? They're just gonna keep working on it until until they think it's perfect, right? There's no like the only rush is like fans being like, when is the game coming out? But like they're not gonna bother releasing it until they're truly done with it. Which is both good and bad. It's like obviously we've been waiting a long time. Like it's been 10 years since Undertale came out, but like on one hand it's like yeah, you're waiting a long time, but on the other hand it's like well like I think maybe games should be released when they're truly done, right? And not like just rushing it out the door. I think there's a bit of a balance. There's definitely a bit of a balance, but like with Silk Song, I think it's worse because you've gotten nothing, right? Like with Stardew Valley, like the latest update of Stardew Valley was like less than a year ago, right? And he's been updating it, and like with like Deltarune chapters 1 and 2 were released along the way, but with Hollow Knight there has been literally nothing. So it's probably a bit harder. Yeah, exactly. And they want to keep making it better and better because, but like I don't think they will ever truly. I don't know. I think actually that's not true. I was gonna say like they might not ever truly live up to the first game, but I don't think that's true. I think as someone who like Undertale is very very special to me, and like it's one of my favorite games of all time. But I can really see that like Deltarune is like superior product. Like like obviously there's very very special things about Undertale, but like in terms of like in pretty much every single category, Deltarune has surpassed Undertale. So I don't think there's necessarily like a thing that's like, oh, it's never gonna be. But I did feel that way about Tears of the Kingdom because like I don't know what's different about it. I really don't know what's different about it because like when Tears of the Kingdom was coming out, I was like nothing will surpass Breath of the Wild, you know? And I truly did think that, and I still believe that. Like while Tears of the Kingdom might be better in some regard, like while Tears of the Kingdom would be better in some regard, I still think Breath of the Wild is like a better experience, but and I Tears of the Kingdom was not as enjoyable to me. Do you feel that way about FNAF? I mean, there was no time to feel that way about FNAF, Ricky. The first game came out, and then like 3 months later, the second game came out, and he was releasing games like within months of each other. It's not really on the same like obviously the first game was revolutionary in many ways for like indie horror, but like it's a lot more like simple, and there's a lot more to it. I don't think it's necessarily on the same level as like, you know, Stardew Valley or something like that. But that doesn't like I don't think simple necessarily means bad. It just means like yeah, I don't think it's a apt comparison. Tears of the Kingdom messed up, still a good game though. Yeah, I just feel like I don't know why I feel this way, cause in some ways like because I'm like, oh, Breath of the Wild was so special the first time I played it, but so was Undertale. And I feel like Deltarune is still just as good. Like it's like maybe object. I don't know if it's objectively better. I think definitely some. There's definitely some. It's not like perfect or anything like that, but I don't know. Maybe it's because Undertale is like a narrative. It's more of a narrative game than like a gameplay based game. Like I actually don't know how a follow up of Stardew Valley will go. I think with the narrative games, obviously, like you can still surpass the previous thing, but maybe gameplay wise, I think there's many aspects of Undertale that are like mechanically better than Deltarune. Even though Deltarune is more advanced and like it's basically like an upgraded version, I think some of the simplicity of Undertale really fit better. After I finished Tears of the Kingdom almost 2 years ago, I never booted back up or have any real desire to. Yeah, I think like with Breath of the Wild originally, one of the main appeals was like how unique it was. Like it's like, oh, there wasn't really anything like this in terms of like exploration, in terms of the world. So I think once that like seal was broken, it's like not as unique anymore, and they kind of just tried to double dip, right? Well, I think with Undertale versus Deltarune, he didn't try to reuse the same gimmick that he used. Like it's not like a gimmick, but like he didn't try to reuse the same concept that he used in Undertale, right? The focus of Deltarune is not like, oh, like it's RPG, but like you don't kill anyone. Like obviously that's been done, right? Like he did that, and like yeah, you don't have to kill anyone, but that's not really the focus of the story. And welcome in, Jimmy. How are you? I had about 1K hours in Breath of the Wild in less than 300 in Tears of the Kingdom. It was a greatly developed DLC, but not a new game. Yeah, I'm not a game designer, so I'm like, I don't know what they could have done. But I still stand by the fact, like, while it wouldn't be like game of the year material, if they had just kept everything exactly the same as Breath of the Wild, but they just made a new map, I feel like I would have been happy personally. Because I just loved the exploring, right? If they just made a new map, I would have been pretty happy. Like yeah, you can add the Ultra Hand stuff into the new map, but like I think there needed to be a new map, at least for me. And I think that makes sense because it's like it's an exploration game. What's there to explore if it's the same place, you know? And like some things were different, but like it wasn't really it wasn't really the right like the Sky Islands were very dull, and the depths were also quite dull. So it's like there wasn't really anything new. That's where I think it suffered the most. But I also like really resigned myself to. I also really resigned myself to like not enjoy Tears of the Kingdom because like you guys know how I felt about dungeons and you guys know how much I suffered playing through them in Tears of the Kingdom as well. I was like, man, it's gonna be. But like I thought I would enjoy the game aside from the dungeons, you know? Because I don't really like the dungeons in Breath of the Wild as well. But the place change equivalent of a different hairstyle. It's like you after today, Ricky. It's like you're Breath of the Wild right now. No, sorry. Let's do the opposite. You're Tears of the Kingdom right now, and then afterwards you're gonna be Breath of the Wild. I'm not saying you will look worse after your haircut. Let's go. You're gonna look better after your haircut. It was Breath of the Wild 1.5. Yeah. I think for me the main thing was like the map. The map really killed it. But yeah, it's I feel like we've really dissected Tears of the Kingdom, but like I don't know. I was actually just watching like a critique of Deltarune, and that's one thing I really know. I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously. That's one thing I really did notice because like the mechanics are no longer just about like, oh, like you're gonna spare every enemy and that's like the main thing that's going on. But the Deltarune isn't really like necessarily focused on that. And then there's I found myself getting I'm such a random encounter hater, but in Undertale there is random encounters technically, but there's very few. In the video they actually counted them, and they said like on average in a playthrough of playthrough of Undertale, you will probably have around 40 random encounters over the course of like it's about an 8 to 10 hour game. So that's not very many random encounters, right? So I never had an issue with it, and then every random encounter is almost like a conversation, like you're meeting a new NPC, that kind of thing, right? But in Deltarune, there's quite a few more. I feel like there's way more random encounters, but like there's not really combat in the same sense that there is in a traditional RPG, right? Because you're like I'm just like sparing them and stuff, but like it does feel a bit tedious. There's no runaway option as well in Deltarune. I'm like, why is there no? I really wish there was a runaway option because there's no benefit to fighting, right? If you're playing like pacifistically, you don't gain any stats. Like you get some money, but like you don't gain any stats, or you don't get anything from from engaging, like from fighting the enemy. So I prefer like once I've seen one enemy once, I'd prefer just run away from all the other ones, because like once you see them once, you're like, I met this NPC, I met this enemy, I know what they're about now, and I don't really want to fight them again because it's the same thing, right? Not that I think it's annoying. I really wish there was a flee option because it's a bit tedious. It's not like to the point where I'm like I can't play anymore. It's not like walking through the caves and in Pokemon or anything like that, but it's like it's still like a fair amount. And then when you like go back to a previous area, like the enemy's back, and it's like I think it's really annoying. But the one thing that really was having a lot of trouble with, there's like there's some encounters where, or there's specifically I think one encounter where you kind of have to fight. Like you have to deal a certain amount of damage before the story continues. But then I was like, wait, I spent the whole game not fighting anything. I didn't even like look at any weapons. Like there's like a weapon, you can equip weapons to your characters, but like I never did, right? Because I was like, well, I'm not gonna fight, so like why would I equip weapons? And a lot of people would just like sell them, right? I think I ended up just like I don't know what I did with my weapons before, but I'm pretty sure I just like threw them away or sold them or something like that, right? Because I was like, I don't need these, right? But then like there was a fight where I needed it, and then I was like, I'm doing very little damage, and I'm making the fight harder for myself because like I can't progress it as quickly, right? Because I'm not doing a lot of damage, and my characters also don't have any stats because I've never killed anything. So like you don't get stats unless you kill something, and I didn't have any stats, so I was like, it's kind of a weird design. That's why I thought a lot of especially like chapter, I think it's chapter 4. It was quite hard. I was like, what is going on? But maybe I'm just unskilled. I don't know. That is definitely possible. I was also struggling with like some of the traversal stuff. I was like, wow, I'm so bad. There's definitely more mechanics because I feel like Undertale is very very simple, and there's really not much in terms of mechanically. But Deltarune is getting more mechanically intensive, you know. So it's I don't think I would ever survive Hollow Knight, for example. um, it would take a long time. It would take a long time before I would beat Hollow Knight for sure. I like the boss fights in Hollow Knight, but the platforming really gives me trouble. Um, Although there's really, really large sections in the recent Deltarune chapters where it's basically like 2D Zelda. It's like a huge, it's not like a reference, I guess. It's like in the style of 2D Zelda. But luckily there was no dungeons. I was getting worried. I was like, ooh, like this is Zelda. Like I opened it up and I was like, ooh, this is 2D Zelda. And then I was like, I was getting worried there, you know, but there was luckily no dungeons. No, there was some light puzzling, but I'm okay with some light puzzles, you know, especially if they're like logic puzzles. It was just like a puzzle where like you have to get them, you have to like put stuff down so it like crosses the water. It was like very simple, you know. I like puzzles where you know the parameters of the puzzle, you know? Like I like puzzles where it's like this is a really bad example, but like for example, like say like Wordle, you know, like I like stuff like that where it's like you know exactly what you have to do, you just don't know how yet. Or sorry, you don't know how you get there, but you know what you need to do, you know? Or like a puzzle where it's like yeah, like you know what I mean, like stuff like that where it's like where it's very clear what you have to do and how you have to get there. You just don't know the exact order, the steps. I don't like puzzles like in Zelda where it's like you don't even know what you have to do, you know? Because I feel like it can be very contrived a lot of times. Like if there's just one specific solution, if there's just one specific solution, I feel like it can be very contrived to find like what was the intended solution to this puzzle and what was the intended like clue you're supposed to get from it, you know? Bosses are great, but at the same time, there's a lot of platforming from bench to boss fight a lot of times. Oh, the run back, you mean? I think run backs are a bit silly. I think they're trying to minimize it as well. And I mean, like Dark Souls is very famous for the run back, but I think they're really trying to minimize it. Especially in like Elden Ring, there's like the America, the stake America, where you can like respawn back there. It's like really close to the boss. I think like yeah, the run back is silly. You don't really mind, but I can see how it's not appealing at all. I think it could be very punishing the more you die. Like the more you're struggling with the boss, the more punishing it is. I remember like I think you were there when I was playing Dark Souls 3, right? There was a bit of a run back to the boss, and I feel like it was just an extra step. That's not like necessarily hard. Like it's not hard to get to the boss, but like it just takes every reset, every try you take on the boss takes longer, right? And if you only take like 5 tries on the boss, it's not a big deal. But I took like 60 tries, right? So like I did 60 run backs, and like that's a bit too much, right? I think it's more punishing to people who are struggling more, which is probably what they wanted. To be fair, knowing FromSoft, that's probably what they wanted, but I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, I think Deltarune did a good job of that as well. Like I never felt frustrated that there was a run back. There was always some sort of like if you died and came back, the boss would just skip the like so if they had like a big monologue before the fight, they just skip it. It would just start the fight immediately, and I thought that was really nice. As someone who died a few times, I did notice that every time I came back, it was faster. It was like a quick like let's just get to the point. You've already seen this, right? Not in like a meta sort of way. It was just like it just skips them. I think I appreciate that. A couple of times, look. On the final boss, I think I wiped like 3 or 4 times. But like it was kind of long leading up to it, so it actually took a while. I was like, oh, I'm at the end, because I had to look at a walkthrough for something because I was kind of stuck on like a climbing puzzle. And then I saw that they were really close to the end, so I was too. And I was like, oh, I'm right at the end. And then I died so many times. I was like, oh god, I don't think it's supposed to be this hard. But I was like, I was really struggling. But and then the one thing I thought was kind of mean, it was that in the fight that there's like an action where you could heal your whole team and it's quite strong, but I realized it has diminishing returns, and the more you use that heal, the less it heals, and after a certain point it was like not even worth using at all. And I was like upset by that because I was like, why would you put that in there? Like I'm just I'm just trying my best, you know. I wanted that heal, but it's fine. It's fine. I made it through. If I can make it through, then I guess everyone else can make it through. But it was I wish there was a bit more. I wish it was a bit easier, personally. As someone who's just playing for them, as someone who's just playing for the story, I thought it was a bit. It was like bordering on a bit too difficult, you know. It was getting a bit frustrating. Like, just like if I'm playing a game for the combat, like if I'm playing like Elden Ring, I'm not frustrated if I'm dying a lot because I'm playing for the combat and I enjoy the combat, and that's why I'm there, right? I don't care about the story. But like if I'm playing a game for the story, I do get frustrated if I die repeatedly at a combat encounter, because I'm like I don't necessarily really enjoy the combat. I don't know what I'm That's not really what I'm here for, so it's like I feel like I'm just like I just want to get to the part I enjoy and I can't get to it. Are you trying to solo challenge in Monster Hunter? Simply the fact of 2 loading screens was driving me crazy for the amount of times I saw it. I can't imagine with a run back. True. Yeah, there's a loading screen. It's really annoying as well. Yeah. I know people compare. A lot of people were talking about Monster Hunter in reference to Night Rain. There's a lot of similar. I guess Monster Hunter also has like difficult semi-Souls like combat. I'm not sure. A lot of people were comparing that as well. But yeah, it's I think I already peaked my gaming skills like a little while ago. I think they're going downhill. That's my running theory. I think when I was gaming a lot, I was better, and now I feel like I'm worse. You know, even it's more like the first time I'm playing something, it just feels worse. Or maybe like the games are just getting harder. Who knows? In a couple months, you'll forget how to use a controller. Honestly, I was like trying to figure out if I should use a controller on Delta. I kept switching back between the controller and my keyboard and stuff. Because I originally Undertale was so long ago and Deltarune was so long ago. I was playing on my MacBook. So I was playing on those like you know, the arrow keys on the MacBook are like this small, right? I was playing on that, and then I was like, it felt weird to use my mechanical keyboard in that way, cause like I've never really used my arrow keys on the mechanical keyboard like that. I always use like WASD, right? And it just felt weird. I didn't know how to. I was like, should I use the controller? But it was kind of hard on the controller, so I was like, I kept going back and forth. Not wild. At least it was way easier to like a few updates ago that developers got the message and shut people's mouths. Like they made it harder. When I was a boy, the games were easier, but we liked it. Is that true though? I feel like older games are. I feel like older games are notoriously more difficult, right? But maybe it depends on the game. I don't think there's anything wrong with the easy game. Like I think it depends. It depends on the game. Like not every game should be difficult. I think a bit of challenge is interesting, but there's definitely a balance, and I think it'll be different for everyone. Some people are obviously really, really good. Like when I looked up, once I finished the game, I looked up the secret. I didn't even bother with the secret bosses in Deltarune because like they're really, really hard. So I'm like, I'm just gonna watch someone else play them. But then like I immediately booted it up, and then they were like, immediately there was like already like a bunch of posts that are like, no hit secret boss. I was like, okay, these people are out here no hitting the secret boss. Like, good job. The up and down keys being half a key each. They're so small. They're so tiny. They made it as hard as previous games. I see. I I don't know. Like I feel like I think it depends on the game, but I'm always a proponent of being like, oh, like if people could tailor like I don't necessarily agree with difficult games where there's only one difficulty setting. Cause like in some ways they're like, oh, like we want everyone to have the same experience, but like people won't have the same experience, right? Like some people are just better, right? If I my experience my first playthrough of Elder Ring compared to like Distortion Distortion 2's first playthrough of Elden Ring are vastly different. We are not having anywhere near the same experience, right? So it's like I don't necessarily think that's a valid I don't necessarily think it's a valid criticism, and it's, especially in a single player game, I feel like you should be allowed to choose what difficulty you like. Like in Elden Ring, I could see the like if you make the lowest difficulty still pretty challenging, that would be understandable, right? Because like the main draw to the game is the challenge. But like I don't know. And I don't like when they're like, okay, if the game is too hard, just grind to make it easier. I don't necessarily agree with that. Because like you can do that in Elden Ring, right? Like it's like you could just grind to level 200 in the first area, right? And then the game would be easy. You could do that. But like I don't necessarily like that as a solution for the games being too hard. Like Pokemon is like that too, where it's like, oh, if it's too hard, just level up. It's like, oh, that's just tedious though. And welcome in, Juju. Hope you're doing well today. You can understand a normal difficulty for story since most people only play for that, but for endgame enjoys and builders get them what they like about the franchise. Yeah, I mean that's the case for especially if it's a story game. I 100% think there should be difficulty options for story games because some people just want to play for the story and you could just lower the difficulty, and that's the way as someone who does enjoy story, that's the way I've enjoyed many games, but I don't necessarily want that to be the experience for everyone. Like when I play God of War, I put it on the easiest difficulty. I don't want any challenge. I'm just mashing through the combat until I can get through the story. But there's a lot of people who enjoy the combat, and I don't necessarily want to take that away from them. I don't necessarily want the game to only cater to me, right? So, and they obviously put a lot of effort into the combat system, so people should enjoy it. So like I think like yeah, I think difficulty options, it's the way. And I think a game like Undertale didn't necessarily need difficulty options because it wasn't very difficult. But I think Delta Ring's reaching the point where I'm like, ooh, I kind of would like a difficulty option. If Baldur's Gate 3 only had like tactician, honor mode difficulty, you'd never have finished it. That would be like too much though, because like as someone who thinks Explorer is too hard, I still agree that because a lot of people played Baldur's Gate for the first time and they played it on the hardest difficulty and they said it was too easy, and that's why they added honor mode, right? But like as someone who played, like I had a completely different experience, right? It was my first time ever playing a game like this. I thought the easiest difficulty was too hard, so I think their balance is a bit off. I think the easiest difficulty should be even easier, and the hardest difficulty should be even harder. Not necessarily more punishing, but just harder. Because a lot of people still complain that Tactician is too hard or too easy. You ever tried the Barbie games on NES? It's the hardest game ever. Yeah, I think games were pretty punishing back then because they couldn't make games that were long enough, right? So they just made them harder. You seem like a D1 yapper. The stream is kind of cool. Thank you. I'm a D1 yapper. I'm a grandmaster yapper. I'm a challenger level yapper. we're just talking about difficulty in games and how we feel about it, you know? But I really think that they should have difficulty options. And I still don't understand why. I still don't understand why Pokemon doesn't have difficulty. Like I literally even like 2 difficulties, like easy mode and hard mode. I would love to play Pokemon on hard mode. As someone who's just so good at Pokemon, you know, the normal one is too easy. No, I'm kidding. But like, yeah, I would love to play Pokemon on a harder difficulty where the enemies have like properly built teams. Like it's really kind of lame. Like obviously the game is for kids too, so I understand why the game is like that. But like if they just had another difficulty where the final gym leader has a full team, like I would be pretty happy about that. The problem is that the difficulty is in Act 1 and 2. I remember a few bosses. Act 3 is pretty easy because the character becomes so powerful. Yeah, it's because of you cap out your level quite early, right? If you're grinding. I actually never really I didn't cap out my level till pretty late. I in our playthrough we got pretty outscaled um in Act 3. So I actually didn't have that experience, but I was pretty low level because I don't like doing quests. I was kind of just doing only the main story. I only did quests when I was forced to. Honor mode Pokemon with slap. That's like a Nuzlocke. Isn't that just a Nuzlocke? Honor mode. It's like permadeath. But I would love a more difficult. Like, even just like a little bit more difficult, I'd be quite happy. It's like you go to the first gym, they have like one Pokemon. It's like okay, they each have like two, and then like the first few gyms they have like maybe like yeah like they all cap out at four Pokemon. I'd prefer. I don't really understand why they do that. Like I don't want to take away the like I don't want to take away like for kids to be able to enjoy Pokemon, but if they could just add a hard mode, I'd be I'd be quite happy. Even if it's like a hidden hard mode, you know? I have no idea. You show up to the first gym and the gym leader has legendary actions. I've not seen those. It's only in honor mode, right? Because I think my current playthrough that I've abandoned is tactician. But it's not they don't have those. I think like the gym leader should have competitive teams. Not like competitive teams like the whole way, like at least like better, more well-rounded teams. Like some of their teams like make no sense, you know? I think they usually do a good job with the champions. Except for Gita. Speaking of Scarlet Violet, Gita's team was really weird. I don't necessarily think she had a super strong team. And I think the really strong Pokemon champions are like the most memorable ones, right? Like people love Cynthia because she had a really good team. She was really tough. No one is like, man, I love Gita. You guys ever like no one? I've never ever seen anyone talk about her like that. So maybe they're like, oh, she has cool hair, but no one ever says, wow, Gita's team was so cool. Like it was so hard or whatever, you know. Oh, HM. Sorry, my brain was in Pokemon mode. HM. Honor mode. Bosses have legendary actions. It can be pretty brutal. You're so like, is how much of your brain is occupied by Baldur's Gate at any given time? Like 60% every day of your brain is just Baldur's Gate. Although I was laughing at I don't know if you saw Kalani's post on the Pokemon channel. They were talking about Cinderace and they're like, love Fireball. Like Fireball's the best. I was like, oh my gosh, that's too much Baldur's Gate. It's not Fireball. You know what you're talking about, right. Although I was kind of consumed by Deltarune this week, so I can't necessarily complain about that, you know. But yeah, so I can't wait for the theories to start coming up. I'm ahead of the curve now, so I'm very curious. I love a good theory. Although a lot of times the thing with Undertale is that like you'll watch you'll look for um you'll look for like Undertale YouTubers, and then sometimes you pull up like, oh, like well, this seems like a great video essay about Undertale, and then clearly the person making it is like 12, and I'm like, oh, I can't watch this. They just sound so young. So which can happen, I guess. You know, with Undertale, there's definitely a lot of young fans, and I think that like younger fans are getting to the point where they're old enough to make YouTube videos. You know, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Sometimes they're good, to be fair. Like I've seen some video essays from what are clearly teenagers, and they're quite good. In prep mode, you only have 3 bosses left. Let's go. I cannot be bothered with the honor mode. I'm still a bit of a combat hater, I will say. I think my love for Baldur's Gate definitely dwindled a lot after Act 3. as someone who was mainly playing for the story, when I reached the story of Act 3, I was very let down. I still like wholeheartedly recommend the game, but like the story in Act 3, man. Why is it like that? It's like me with The Last of Us. Oh my god. I've watched like 100 video essays and reviews about The Last of Us Season 2. They're all the same, but I keep watching them. Everyone says the same thing. Like, I know the issues with The Last of Us 2. Like, I'm aware of them. Everyone has the same complaints. But I keep watching them. Why? And then my YouTube feed will fill with like, you can always tell who is like a Gamergate bro and is just gonna like insult Bella Ramsey for her appearance or whatever, or like act really transphobic for no reason. You can always tell because they Photoshop her face. Like a lot of people will like be photoshopping Bella Ramsey's face to look like bad, right? Or like to look like really weird, right? So every time I see one of those thumbnails, I block the channel, but like they just keep coming up, man, because I'm watching so many reviews. You have a sticker on WhatsApp for Kimmy that goes, "Sorry for yapping about Monster Hunter for the past 4 hours. It will happen again." Fair enough. Fair enough. Honestly, I could yap. I could yap about The Last of Us 2 all day. I could yap about Deltarune all day, but I can't because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. There's only so much I can yap about without spoiling, you know? Earlier today, stuck into Cazador's boss room to loot the pile of remains that used to be a companion. Get 2 legendary weapons. Let's go. Let's go. You might try throwing an owl bear at him for his loot. Cazador himself? Yeah, do it. Get his stuff. I might go back to Baldur's Gate eventually, but currently I have no desire. It took over my life for like a few weeks, I guess, but then no. I've escaped its grasps. Zirconia is still stuck, but I've escaped. I don't think I necessarily like get really into a game like that though. Like I think the last time I got really into a game like that was like maybe like the only time I really like degened really hard into a game was probably Animal Crossing. But that was also like completely different circumstances. Because it was like lockdown and like it was literally like March or the lockdown, right? And then like it was also like it was like a month. And then I was done. I was very burnt out of it. And I have those periods with Stardew Valley as well, but it's usually short. I feel like I can't like keep that level of enthusiasm, or not like enthusiasm, but like I can't keep that level of playing the game for that long, you know? But yeah, I don't have that kind of dedication is what I'm saying. Cause like for me, I don't think I can really game that long. I feel like this is probably not common because like a lot of us are gamers, but like I don't think I can really game that long. Like, I feel like if I just play a game for a couple hours, I want to take a break and then I can come back maybe later. But I don't necessarily like I can watch a show for like a while, but I feel like with games, I get kind of like I get kind of like out of it. I'm like I start to lose focus after like a couple hours, and then like I feel like my eyes are hurting, you know. But like if I'm just watching TV, I can just even with TV, I do take breaks. You're just a hyper fixator. I can't do that. I don't know. Like I feel like I don't have anything. I don't necessarily have like a specific thing where I'm like there's a lot of things I really like. Like there's a lot of games I really like, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like fixated on them, you know? I feel like I spread my dedication much more broadly, you know? Across different types of things, you know? And I don't necessarily want to like just like lose myself in that. In Walkman philosophy, what's the most you can play without having outside responsibilities interrupting you? I'd probably play for like like say I would finish work. I finish work at like 3, and then like I would play for a couple hours to like 5, and then I have to like think about dinner, like making dinner or eating dinner or whatever, and then maybe after that I have a bit of time as well, but I I may only have like another couple hours until I'm like, oh, time to get ready for bed, that kind of thing. I get ready for bed, do the dishes, all this stuff. It's like I feel like there's actually not a lot of time in the day. Um, Before Baldur's Gate 3, Breath of the Wild was the last game you were legitimately addicted to. You watched more gaming content than I did actually game. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. You did, but you got all your addiction out of the way, like earlier in life, with WoW. Dinner at 5, go to bed at 6. Yeah, exactly, exactly. There's not much time for gaming if you sleep at 6 p.m. Yeah, it's a. I just feel like there's some days where like today, like if I come back from Pilates, I could probably, if I wanted to, I could probably game for a long time. But I don't think. Okay, I think there's two. I've always thought that. I think there's like two different types of gamers, right? I would say there's one type of gamer. There's one type of game, and this is me. I relate to this. I play a game if there's a game that I'm like wanting to play. Like if there's like a specific game that I'm like, I play games when a game comes out, or like I learn about a game and I want to play that specific game. And when I'm done playing it, I'll be done, And then there's some people who, if you have free time, you'll play a game. And you'll like find a game. It's not necessarily like a specific game. There might be a specific game you're playing at the moment, but it's more like, oh, I have time. Let me game. And I've never been like that, because like I don't think that's my go-to. Like if I was like, oh, I have some free time, like I'm not really doing much, I'll probably do something else, right? Like I'll probably like, I might watch a show. I might, like do chores. I might practice for my singing lesson, or like whatever. Like I might be doing other stuff. I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, I have this amount of time, let me fill that time with a game. WoW and TF2 are your hyperfixations of the past. Yeah, we know. Once you become an adult, you can game less and less. Max I can do is 1 hour a day, but back in undergrad, you could game all night. Yeah, definitely. I think once you have a full-time job, you realize how few hours are in the day. Like, cause like you think like you're like, oh, if you say you work 9 to 5, you're like, I have like all afternoon, right? Like you could play from 5 p.m. to like 10, 11 p.m. You probably have, that's a lot of time as well. That's only 5 hours of your day. And you might not even get home till like 6 if you commute to the office. You might not get home till 6. And it's like, what, you have a few hours left in your day? What if you need to do chores? What if you need to cook dinner? That's already like an hour or two of your day gone. And then you only have a few hours left after that. It's like, you really realize, like, I think everyone has that moment. I had this moment when I started my internship. It wasn't even like full-time work. It was just like, well, I was working like 40 hours a week, but it was like not permanent. But yeah, I had this moment of crisis when I had started an internship. I was like, I work 9 to 5 in the office. So I left home at like 8. And then I got home like 6, maybe past 6. And then I was like, is this how I'm going to live the rest of my life? I think everyone has this moment of dread where they're like, is this really how I'm going to live my life? Like all this time, every day, I'm working, like it's like, oh, this is life. Like that sucks, But after a while, you just get used to it. Especially if you work out, have a social life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like if you, it's hard to find time to work out or like have certain hobbies and stuff like that. So I think working from home, I think I'll never go back to working in the office, because like working from home, like you can do some chores throughout the day, right? Like you can like, if you have, it's not like you don't have a few minutes to just like throw some laundry in or run the dishwasher and stuff like that, right? You're not sure you're like doing a full house clean, but you can you can do stuff here and there, right? And you also remove the commuting time. And that's huge. That's so much time. That's so much time back in your life, right? So I don't think I can go back to. I don't think I can go back to ever working in an office. Yeah, it's a. I definitely had that moment where I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be the rest of my life. Like until I retire or die, um, you you just lose all this time in your life because you have to work. I'm like, oh, this is society. It's just a society we live in. It's just like that, you know. But it's okay. It's not the worst. I think there's good things and there's bad things. Cause like you obviously have a lot more freedom than you did when you were in school, and like when you're at work, hopefully, this is not the case for everyone, but hopefully when you leave work or log out for the day, you're done, right? Like it's not like you have homework, you don't have anything like that. Obviously some jobs are not like this, but ideally you could just be done, right? Um, but I still feel like I had more time when I was in school. Society is whack. True, Jimmy. Exactly. Yeah, I think I had a lot more time. I mean, I definitely noticed because I was like streaming as well, right? Like, because I definitely had more time to stream when I was in school versus when I was working. I don't think I did 40 hours of school a week. Like, I was a pretty studious person, and I studied a lot, but I don't think I did 40 hours. The good part of working at an office that you don't associate any part of your home with work. I don't necessarily have that problem. I don't think I have a problem like unplugging from work, you know? I don't think I need that distinction. Like I don't struggle with like, oh, like my work laptop is right here. Should I open it up? Should I work? Like, no. I don't have that issue. I'm very good at staying away from it. Like, yes, it's right there, but like I'm not touching that, you know? I think that's the way to go. And I feel like once I'm done work, I'm done, you know? I mean, there's some days where, like a little bit past when I'm technically done is, but like I think my schedule is more flexible because I work from home, you know? Like some days I might start later, and some days I'm like, oh, like I've been, waking up late or something the last couple of days, so I might stay like, I might continue my work for like an hour or two after 3 or whatever, and I think it just kind of balances itself out, you know? Yeah, I don't really have a problem with like um I don't necessarily have a problem with like, oh, like if you work from home, like you don't know when work is done, but I think you just gotta be like I think you just gotta be very like a draw a line very, very strongly. When you're in that type of adult job, you have to make sacrifices. You can't do everything you like. You have to pick. Like I mentioned, you can only get 1 hour a day, but it's because I'd rather do other things in my life, like work out and spend time with your girlfriend. I mean, those things are definitely more important and probably more fulfilling and healthy. There's nothing wrong with gaming, absolutely, but um, yeah, it's just like priorities at different times of your life, right? Like it's like for example, if you end up having kids, it's like I feel like a lot of that time will definitely go out the window, right? But that's like your choice. I mean, hopefully your choice. I guess it might not be, but that's definitely the. I mean, it's a result of the choices you make, and I think that's okay. I think there's times in your life where you'll be able to play more, especially like when you're in school and stuff. You get to play a lot of games more. I think I don't necessarily get any fulfillment out of just gaming. That's why I say like I'm not like I don't just fill my free time with games. Because I don't necessarily get that much fulfillment out of it personally. I get more fulfillment out of like that's not to say like I'm superior. Like there's other things you can do in your life that are superior. Like we all have our things that we just like veg out and do, right? Like we just like scrolling on your phone is not any more worthwhile than it's probably less worthwhile than playing games, right? Or like watching TV is not necessarily like more or less worthwhile than games, right? And I think there's definitely even if you're playing a game that's not necessarily like impactful or like thought provoking or anything like that, there's value to having that downtime, or maybe you're using that time to socialize. Like I don't necessarily think like, I don't know, like Valorant is enriching or anything like that. But if you're using that time to like spend with your friends or like, or just de-stressing, maybe it just, you know, helps you decompress or whatever. Like that, there's value in that. When your kids go to college, you can game again. That's true. That's true. Or when your kids get old enough to game with you, you can game again. I'm sure like when your kids are like, once your kids reach like 12, they're probably a lot more self-sufficient, right? She doesn't need enrichment time. She just sits and browses. It's enriching. I love reading the AI posts. Don't you get the thoughts while gaming that you could be doing something more productive sometimes? Yeah, I don't like gaming like a lot in a week. Like I think if I'm like, if I spend too much time gaming in a week, I think it's a bit too much. Like I think no matter what it is, I would prefer a bit of variety. But I do think a lot of people can. I think you can, like, game to the point where it's affecting your productivity and it's not good for your life. You know. I think it depends like how you do it as well. Cause like for me, it's like okay, I played a lot of games this week. Like I played, like for example, Deltarune. But for me, I feel like Deltarune is a very special experience, and it's very as a piece of media. As a piece of media, I felt like it was very like enriching to me. Like it was kind of like, you know, it brought me a lot of joy. I think in that situation, it's like that time was spent valuably. Like I'm okay with that. But if I was just like mindlessly doing a game I didn't necessarily really enjoy or something like that, then I feel like I would be wasting away. But there's also like a limit, right? Like as much as games can be good for you, I think too much of anything is a lot, right? Like for example, like working out is really good for you. If you work out like 4 hours a day, you're probably reaching a point where it's not healthy anymore, and it's like, you know, it's you should probably like have a variety of things. I think it's always important to have a variety of things in your life, right? Like if you're like singularly focused on one thing, this is not a call out to Zirconian and Baldur's Gate. I just mean like, you know, if your life is just like work, right? Like if you only like, yeah, that's productive. You're making money. You're doing good. But like, I think you should have other things in your life, right? Like whether it's like personal relationships or other hobbies or stuff like that. Once your kids are 12, you can put them to work in the mines because they're great for jobs that require you to fill in a small space. True, yeah. They are small. But I could be at work and I begin to think I could be doing something more productive. Okay, but like sometimes work is something you have to do. It's not something you necessarily choose to do. I think productivity is overrated. I'm here to enjoy my life, not to be a good worker and yeah, I mean obviously yeah, enjoy your life. But like sometimes if I'm gaming, like if I was gaming like all day every day, I might be like, oh, I think I could have be having more fun or enjoying my life better, you know? But then sometimes it's just how life is. Not to be like too deep about it, but like sometimes your life is just you go to work and then you come home, you watch some TV and then you eat and then you sleep. You know, like sometimes it is like that. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that as long as you're happy. As long as you're happy and you know, yeah, as long as you're happy and healthy. Everything in excess is bad. Exactly. I mean, that's a big thing. That's a big thing with the like Kim Jong-un from Running Man. He's like really he's really into fitness, but to the point where everyone around him and including himself are like, yeah, this is too much. He works out like multiple hours a day. So I think yeah, even stuff like that could be bad. He had a friend, he did so many pull-ups, he got rhabdomyolysis. It's like you break down so much of your own muscle, your organs get overwhelmed. They suspect your friend was on PEDs. Oh, I heard that like if you're on PEDs, like you can really affect like not your muscles will be fine, but like it's like the connecting tissue, like the the ligaments and like maybe other parts of your body can't keep up with the muscle growth, right? Because like your muscles will grow very rapidly, but it might be too rapid. Like it's easy to overdo it, I've heard. As someone who's clearly on steroids. Personal experience here. It just be on shaving your beard because you're about to go. Do things slowly if you're in a rush. I messed up a few times. Oh no. I hope it's not painful. I hope you didn't cut yourself. That's one thing. Another, it's a software engineers turn YouTubers whose content is entirely based around ruining your free time by learning Kubernetes. Well, I like Kubernetes. No. Like, if you work in the tech industry, you will know people like that. Like, there's always gonna be those people who work too hard, or their entire life is their work, right? And I don't think that's necessarily good. Maybe it's okay for a little bit of a period of your life. Like, what if you're starting like a startup or something? Your whole life might be work for a bit, but I don't think it necessarily like makes you a well-rounded person. It's more about doing something that can improve your life rather than just wasting time. Sometimes we just put away responsibility for fun. Obviously, fun time is important, but if you want to do other things in life, you need to sacrifice some fun time. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the Korean understands that as well. Like, there's some things that we don't necessarily want to do, but we have to do to enjoy life better later. Like, obviously, I could spend all my money now and not worry about retirement, but I'm gonna regret that later, so I'm saving for retirement, you know? Like, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you need a delayed gratification, or some things just have to be done because you live in a society, you know? Like, you have to work because we need money. And you have to pay your taxes, and you have to, like, you know, there's a lot of things you have to do. And you don't necessarily, you know, you don't necessarily want to do it, but you have to because you need it for later. You could be reading a book right now. When's the last time I read a book, man? Instead of reading all this text in my video game, I could be reading a book. Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like streaming is an enriching hobby in some sense. Sometimes it's not. But like sometimes it's just for fun. But like sometimes it's enriching in many ways because like you meet lots of people. Like, I feel like I've met a lot of people from that I wouldn't necessarily meet in day-to-day life, you know? And I think the community aspect is the main thing with streaming, you know, like you build up a community, and I feel like there's value in that. Even if we're just wasting our days away yapping. Society will get you. True. You've learned a lot of English. See, we've been helping Ricky. That's our value. You've met a lot of weeds you could have otherwise avoided. That's true. But they're unavoidable. There's weebs at work too. I've been finding this out. I've been like learned about the weebery around me. You get the best of many things, not gonna lie. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it as well. Like obviously we don't live our lives like every second. We don't min-max our lives. I mean, most people don't. Some people do, but like most people don't min-max their lives, right? So not every second has to be 100% like productive or efficient or anything like that. Do you think you're at a good place with time management and accomplishing most of what you want to do throughout a week? Oh yeah, definitely. I think I've always had fairly good time management, and fairly good discipline of like doing what I need to do and doing things pretty on time. I've never had an issue with time management, which helped me a lot in school. I'm very organized with like I make a lot of lists. That kind of stuff. It's like, okay, today I need to do this, tomorrow I need to do this. Both at work and at home. Last book you read with Snow Globe? I thought you literally just said you just finished reading the Hunger Games book. Or you mean before that? Lists help. I'm such a list person. I love lists. Like I'm not that much of a spreadsheet person. Like spreadsheets are okay, but like I'm a list I'm a to do. I love to do lists. I love writing the to do list. I love checking things off the to do list. Both are fun. Um, I'm someone who really needs to plan things out. You know, I'm always just like I'm always the planner. Cause I get stressed out if no one else is planning. You know. What are your top 10 types of lists? I mean, I mainly just make to do lists. Um, so that's what I mean. I make to do lists. I make grocery lists. I make chore lists. Um, I make lists of songs that I'm working on. I make lists, not like writing, but like I just mean like practicing. And I also make lists of like shows and movies I want to watch. Although that one has fallen off a bit. Um, what else? I make a lot of lists. But honestly, S tier to do list. Like that's my one list. It's like to do lists are up here, and every type of list is down here. You know. You're reading Neuromancer. I didn't like it very much, so I'm gonna reading height. What is Neuromancer? Honestly, I haven't read that many like fiction books. I'm more of a non-fiction reader. Um, but these days I'm not a reader. These days I was on like a earlier this year I was on like such a movie streak. I was really love watching movies. But now I'm watching a lot of shows. I like shows now. I might eventually get on Breaking Bad. I'm talked about this. I might eventually do it. Your last book after that. Okay, okay. You can't lie to us about the last book you read. It's basically the book that started the cyberpunk sub-genre. Which doesn't sound like something I would like. I feel like we have different tastes in media. Although there's some overlap. There's definitely some overlap. Because I don't necessarily have like specific genres I like. I think it's more like if as long as they have strong character development or like an interesting mystery or something like that, like if it's like really good, I don't mind the genre. But I don't necessarily gravitate towards the same genres. Like I think given the choice, I would prefer just like a normal life story set in the modern or not necessarily modern world, but like our normal world, you know? I did say I don't like oh true, you just said you don't like it, yeah. But I thought you love sci-fi. Lists are good. I feel like they save you from unnecessary worry because if you don't do lists, you'll keep thinking that you need to do this or that. Yeah, I think I'm also like pretty forgetful here and there, so I think writing stuff down is really helpful because like if I don't write a grocery list, if I go to the store, I'm not gonna get half. Like even sometimes I'm like very aware of what I need to buy, and then I go into the store, it's not on my list. I don't get it. You know, like I forget. I'm like I think my short term memory is not the best. Although I feel like I'm starting to feel recently like I feel like I don't know if it's just because I'm using my brain less, or if it's like some sort of like long COVID brain fog kind of situation. Because like recently, I just feel like my memory and my brain like capacity for thinking and stuff like that is not the same as it used to be. But maybe it is just because I'm like using my brain less. But I don't know. I feel like something's up because like obviously like I did my degree. I got my degree in comp sci and math. I obviously like was good at school, you know, like I was good at remembering things and I remember stuff for school. But like now I feel like I don't know. I'm like, could I even do it now? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not like in the thick of it, you know, and I'm not like actively using my brain all the time. Although my work is not like mindless, obviously. So maybe I am using my brain. I just feel like more forgetful recently. I guess I wasn't necessarily doing like a degree where you have to remember a lot of things. Like I think if I was studying like like, I don't know, like biology or chemistry, there's probably a lot more like memorization. The amount of times I walked into shops for one thing and walked out with a bunch of things, and which are the one, okay, I'm not the only one who does, I do exactly that. If I don't write it down, I will forget. Even if I'm thinking about it when I walk into the store, I will forget. So the AI stuff on Reddit, it's frying your brains. I was thinking that too. But these days, I don't actually read that much of Am I the A-hole? Maybe it needs time to recover. Because like these days, I just read the news on the Vancouver subreddit, and then I check the, I sometimes look at the personal finance subreddit. And then like if I'm watching a show or something, I read the discussion on Reddit. Or like sometimes I'll read about like Genshin news or whatever, but not necessarily like I don't read the AI slop anymore. I think it was killing my brain cells, actually. Maybe my brain cells just need to regenerate after that. I feel the other way around. I'm not good at remembering stuff clearly from years ago, thing that I was not able to do a while ago. I was never good at remembering stuff from years ago. I was always a person that like forgets stuff. Like I remember like my memory is like fine for generally, but I feel like I don't necessarily remember a lot of memories like very clearly. You know, like I'll remember that stuff happened, but I don't necessarily like, I guess I'm not like a reminiscing person. I don't necessarily like think back about the past a lot. So like I think if you think back on the past a lot, you're more likely to remember it. Maybe you're feeling nostalgic these days. But yeah, it's what was I even saying? My brain. It got lost in those Reddit brain cells. Now they're gone. You have a very poor sense of time. Oh, you don't remember when things happened. Interesting. I wouldn't say I have that. I would say I have an average sense of time, poor sense of direction. I've always had a poor sense of direction. I get turned around really easily. Call me crazy, but I think it started when I memorized more than 80 algorithms for the 3x3. Like Rubik's Cube. You have an explanation for doing that? What is I mean, there's no reason you need. Like maybe you just wanted to. But yeah, I think it's true that like using your brain, like you probably used your brain very intensely, like more than you had in a while, right? So maybe that helps, you know? Because like I feel like I don't use my brain the same way I did when I was in school. Obviously, like I'm obviously not doing like university level math anymore. Like obviously, I'm not using my brain to the same degree. I'm still using it because obviously my job requires it, but it's not the same. Although I feel like music uses a lot of your brain, but maybe different parts than just like rote memorization. Your pants with directions, absolutely. I can't believe sometimes like when we're on like a group trip, like I feel like I should not be the direction person. Nostalgia can be one hell of a drug. You know all about it, don't you? Welcome in, hero. Hope you're doing well today. Can't you solve a 3x3 with like 10 algorithms? But not in less than 50 seconds consistently. Oh, so you need to learn a bunch of different ways to do it? That makes sense. That makes sense. You and Liam get lost on your honeymoon. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I might be better than Leon. I don't know how bad Leon is, but I gotta be better than that, you know? You know all about it, yes. Happy Saturday. I am doing well. I hope you are too. It's a really, really nice weekend. This weekend. It's gonna hit almost, it's gonna be in the high 20 degrees. Oh, it's supposed to be almost 30 tomorrow. That's crazy. You have a 24-second PB without a magnetic cube. Looking forward for a better time with buy a magnetic one. Damn. Are you working on it now? Your brain's working hard. Pop does imply that Liam might not find his way back home from the train station. I mean, judging by how sparse that town is, I feel like I could do that, you know? Like, there's not a lot of building, but maybe that's just Game Freak. Beautiful weather has arrived here as well. I know, it's always such a uplifting mood when the weather is nice. Although it's a bit warm. That's okay. There's like one, yeah, exactly. There's only one road, and there's a bit of like a fork in the road, but like it just loops back around on itself. You know, the tall grass. If he got lost from there, then I think he has problems. Like I think he has some sort of like brain injury or something like that. That's like causing him to not be able to perceive his surroundings. So there's no way. It's just one road, you know? So maybe Hop is exaggerating. Maybe they're just teasing him. Who knows? He is fans of directions, but maybe not on one road in his hometown. Because I feel like I know my way around my hometown pretty well. I would not get lost. And like, even in the area I live now, I've been here for 2 years. I don't think I would get lost. I think I'm pretty aware of my surroundings here. If I move again, though, I don't know what will end up. It's like when I say you're super stinky, but in reality you're just kind of smelly. Thank you. Thanks for finally admitting it. I'm only slightly smelly, or a little bit kind of smelly. Thank you. Yeah, it's what were we even talking about? Speaking of my memory, like what were we even talking about? Although I feel like with streaming, it's like you're very much like bombarded with information, and I'm always surprising myself how much I do remember. You know, like sometimes someone will come in and I'll like remember something about them, and I'm like, how did I remember that? Like literally, like I guess you do sometimes surprise yourself on what you can remember, and like to me, I think there's just like the sheer volume of like regulars I know. It's like also it's not like unimpressive, you know. It's not, I guess it's different because like the names are constantly there, you know. Like it's not like someone you know in person where they're not necessarily wearing a name tag all the time. Would be easier if everyone was wearing a name tag all the time. Do you guys ever have someone remember you and then you don't remember them? Like not necessarily like online, but like in person. I remember like I remember I was leaving work one day and this guy came up to me and he was like, "Oh hey, you're Maya, right?" Like, or I don't know if you knew my name, but like he was like, "Oh, like I was your TA." Like he was like, were you in my class? Like I'm a TA for this class." And I was like, "Oh no, I wasn't. I'm sorry." And he was like, "Are you sure? Like I feel like I remember you." I was like, "No, no, no." I was like, "I wasn't in your class." And he was like, "Oh, okay, sure." And then later I left. And then like a few hours later I was like, "Oh god, I was in his class." Like now I'm like, that's like I was a student in like there's like 20 students and he was like one of like 2 TAs. And I was like, "Oh, that's very embarrassing that he remembered me, but like I didn't remember him." And I specifically told him that I didn't remember him, even though it was just like I feel like it should be the other way around, you know? I should have just pretended to know him. But it's okay. That's okay. That guy's probably like rethinking his life. Since I had epilepsy issues for like a year, I couldn't spend most of my free time at the PC since they avoid screens. I bought a 3x3 to try. Oh yeah, then he fell down the Rubik's Cube rabbit hole. One of my friends at that internship, he was really, really good at Rubik's Cube. He had some sort of record, but I can't remember. Or he did have some sort of record, but I can't remember. You know, a lot of weird facts, like how I knew people from Middlesbrough are called smoggies. Yeah, why? Yeah, that is weird that you know that. I guess you're a fact guy, you know? I think some people are fact people. I don't necessarily remember facts. That's not something I put in my mind. Like general trivia, I would suck at it. Oh, we were talking about this last week, right? Like where it's like, oh, if you were on a game show and then you got to choose your special category of questions, I don't necessarily think I would have one. That I would be like, oh, I would know everything about. You know, some people are like, I know everything about cars. Or I know everything about horses or something, you know, like something like that. I was like, I know everything about Formula One, you know. And that happened to me in a nightclub years ago. I bumped into one of my classmates who I was actually school friends with. He called me out by name. Oh no, you were friends with him. It's so awkward. He called me out by my name, said hi. I was like, I remember your face. I can't remember your name. Did you say that aloud or you just pretend to know him? Because I would have just pretended to know them. That one time I didn't because I genuinely thought, like, because he asked, like, oh, do I know you? And I was like, oh, no. But if someone was like, if someone came up to me and they're like, Maya, it's been so long, you know? And then I would be like, oh, yeah, you too. How are you? How have you been? And then I would just not say their name. It would be pretty obvious, maybe, after a certain point that I don't know them, but that's okay. Play the piano for a lot of people, and most of the time people greet you. Like, if you met them, a lot of time people greet you, like, if you met them. Like, bro, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. You're just too famous, Ricky. What can I say? It's happened to me a lot. One time this random dude approached me and said if I went to this university, if I studied philosophy. Both were yes, but I hadn't ever seen him in my life. That's a bit scary, actually. Did he say how he knows you? Like, were you guys in a class together, maybe? Found the ultimate daily game. By the way, it's called catfishing, like category fishing. We get the categories of a Wikipedia article and you have to guess what it is. It's so hard. That does sound hard. I think I would suck at that. I literally said that to him and then he reintroduced himself and I was like, oh yeah, I remember now. I mean, I guess if it had been a while. If it had been a while. If it was like last year, he might have been sad. But if it was like 10 years ago, then like fair enough. You're like in a class together just so you don't remember him. It's weird, right? It's like, oh, it's like 4 or 5. That's fine. It's okay to forget a school friend in 5 years. Like I made a bunch of friends for like just one class and then we wouldn't talk to each other like after that, right? Like yeah, we were friends, but like not that close. Is from the sit said it incorrectly? Yeah, I didn't really know what you meant by that, Ricky. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure it out, but I didn't know what you meant. Yeah, it's crazy to think like how many people do you guys think like know? Okay, obviously like for me, not including streaming, because streaming is a very different situation. But like in real life, how many people do you think like know you, but you don't know them? You know, like where it's like oh like, these people all know who you are and know things about you, but you don't really know them. Like you maybe know they exist, but you don't know much about them. But yeah, it definitely is a weird feeling. From the chair, I guess, but it's not a chair. I don't know what you mean. Like they're watching you from a chair, or you mean the piano bench? That's major. But you met them like once, or one of their siblings once. Yeah, I guess sometimes you made an impression on someone more than they did on you, and I think that's fine. But I think it can feel strange. There might be people who, and then you think about like there might be people like okay, think of have you ever had a situation, especially when you're younger, where you're like you don't really know someone that well, but you like had this idea of them in your head, right? Like you kind of built up an expectation of them, maybe you had a crush on them, maybe whatever, maybe you wanted to be friends with them, and you like build up this idea of them in your head. There's probably people who thought that of you, right? Like who like have this expectation of you and like think all these things about you, but they don't really know you. And I think that's a weird feeling, which is kind of similar to streaming. I think everyone has felt that in a different degree. I think for streaming, it's more on a larger scale. The bench, I'm not sure. It is a bench. The piano bench, yeah, it's called a bench. You said you took a philosophy class and then you studied a different major, so you probably only had that one class together. But in class, a lot of times you don't remember people years later. I mean, yeah, like how big is the class? I mean, maybe you talked a lot in class. Were you that philosophy, not just stereotype, but were you that philosophy major who was always raising his hand? Because I remember the philosophy major from my physics class was always we were asking weird questions to the professor, and he's like, "Yeah, I study philosophy," and I was like, "Bro, like." There was this guy actually. Maybe you're leaving out details and you actually wore a trench coat to every class because I knew that guy. I don't know his name, but I knew he existed. I was like, you're the trench coat guy, philosophy guy from my physics class. That happens to good looking and successful people. Yeah, I guess if you were really good looking, I guess a lot of people might have had like crushes on you or like thought things of you. Gotta go. Okay. Enjoy your haircut, Ricky. Hope you look dapper afterwards. But yeah, it's crazy how many people you know in passing. And I feel like I'm not very good at remembering people. I feel like I'm very not good at remembering people. Like after I graduated high school, a few years later, I would see someone I knew from high school, and then they would be like, "Oh, hey, nice to see you," and I'm like, "Who the hell is that?" They look really familiar. I just don't know who they are, and I'm like, "How do I not remember this person?" I literally spent like 5 years of my life with them. Like, I don't remember who they are. It hasn't been that long since I graduated. Like, okay, now it has been that long since I graduated high school, but like back then it wasn't. And like, especially with the boys, because like a lot of the boys, like they looked really young in high school, and then they like grow a beard or something. They're like 23. They grew a beard. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, they'll like recognize me, but I'm like, who is that? But that's not my fault. If you grow a beard, don't complain that people don't recognize you, because like I don't know who that is. I think in my younger years, I was like 30, I was hanging out with the younger crowd, but they're like early to mid 20s. But we're all the same ethnicity and from the same community, okay? One time one of the guys confided in me that when I was in my early 20s and they were teenagers, and looked at me and thought, you're like Nost. You and your legendary with your RX-7. RX-7 is your old car. Like they thought you were cool, is what you mean? That must be a good feeling. You can be like a role model for them, no? One of them met guys at jiu-jitsu tournaments that I taught a long time ago, and they're all grown up, and I can't recognize them, but they remember me and feel dumb. I mean, that's totally fine. Like, you probably taught them when they were kids, right? Like, of course you don't recognize them when they're older. And like, obviously, you probably haven't changed as much as they have, having completely grown up, right? At that point, you just pretend to remember them. That probably happens a lot with teachers, because like people remember their teachers because it's just one teacher, but the teacher has like 30 students, right? If you grow a beard, wear a photo of your beardless self on a lanyard. That would be helpful, yeah. I thought that I was like super cool car guy role model. Yeah. I once found out that a lot of the younger kids thought it was cool, even though I didn't really think I was cool in high school. When I found out that a lot of the younger kids like talked about me and thought I was cool, I was like, damn, like, thank you. It's always a great feeling to hear that people think you're cool. But then like people are like, oh, like, but then sometimes people thought I was like not like intimidating, but like I could be kind of like not cold, but I definitely wasn't like going out of my way necessarily to talk to people and stuff like that, or not like that, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah, unapproachable. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that, which is kind of good sometimes. Aloof. I wouldn't say I'm cold though. Like I wasn't mean. But yeah, it's maybe different. But then when I got older, I felt like I became more unapproachable or more approachable because people would always come up to me at school. Like it was like a big place, right? Like there was lots of people. So people would always come to me for directions. They're like, some like old lady will come up to me and be like, excuse me, miss, can you tell me where this building is? And I'm like, well, why am I the approachable one now? You know, like I try very hard to be unapproachable. Philosophy guys can be unique. I was into sports and normal things, but everyone I met there didn't like sports, and it was mostly guys in philosophy. Oh, it's mostly men, really? It's interesting. A bunch of nerds. Well, it was the opposite when I went to business school. For my MBA, it was a bunch of former that kind of fits the stereotype, doesn't it? But yeah, there's a lot of normal. I actually took a bunch of philosophy classes personally. Most of my lectures were philosophy because there's a lot of overlap with math and comp sci because like I took like logic classes, right? So it's like a lot of overlap, right? So yeah, I took a lot of philosophy classes, but there was definitely like every class there was like a few very interesting people, you know, where you're like, ooh, who, like this person's very very strange. A lot of people can be quite. There's some people who are like super pretentious. and they think they're like really beyond everyone else. Like they're like, oh, I'm so logical and cool because I know philosophy. And like, if you talk to them, they'll be like, excuse me, like why are you coming at me with these ad hominems? Like those people. There's always gonna be people like that, but I think the vast majority of people are normal. It's just the weirdos stand out. What's hard to believe that Miju was cool or that Miju was intimidating? People thought I was cool. I was just so cool. People with glasses always have the best directions. Very smart. No, they can't see very well. They can't see the street names. But I wasn't wearing glasses. People still came up to me. Basically a bunch of heroes. They thought they were a bunch of heroes, but their debating skills were not up to par. Philosophy guys can have a unique style of dressing. I still remember that trench coat guy. He wore a trench coat and a fedora, by the way. Trench coat and a fedora. Even when it was really hot out, leather trench coat. I was like, what is up with this guy? I did avoid him if he ever tried to speak to me, though. Like, sometimes he would try to speak to people, and I'm like, please, don't talk to me. Maybe that was judgmental. Maybe he was really nice, but every time he would, like, raise his hand, he would, like, act very condescending, like he would the way he spoke was just like very condescending, so I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy. But yeah, I saw that guy around a lot. No offense, I'm sorry if you're that guy, and you know if you're that guy, you're that guy. Could have been really nice, but I just didn't know. But yeah, my other philosophy classes are pretty chill. I mainly just stuck with the logic ones, because it was basically like a like the logic courses are basically like a like it's kind of like a less difficult version of the math proof, right? Because it's more like I took an early level one. It was on like a higher level one, but it was like it doesn't have all the math aspect on it. It's more just like purely logic. It's like they give you like A and B or C, and then you got a bunch of like logical things, and then you have to like create the solution with it. But yeah, it worked very well with my my math degree, so it was quite nice. But I never got into the other philosophy parts because like I cannot write essays, so I avoided any class where there was an essay. All dogs are great. Luca's a dog, therefore Luca's great. Exactly. Like it was just like stuff like that. But maybe sometimes more complex than that. I definitely think like at least like a lower level philosophy class is really, really worth taking. Because I think it could be very they teach you about all the different logical fallacies, and like in this day and age it is so worthwhile to know those things, right? To know that because like people online, especially like people like like people like Ben Shapiro, stuff like that, they can sound really convincing, right? All the things they say can sound really convincing, but if you kind of know what strategies they're doing to present this information or to convince people, then it can be very valuable. And the one thing, yes, exactly. And another thing is like, as much as I hate stats, intro level stats class, so worthwhile, especially like if you're reading news articles and they're like, oh, like they're giving you this statistic, and it's like you have to know like how data can be like misinterpreted and kind of like misrepresented. And welcome in, Hiren. Hope you're doing well today. Your philosophy class was mostly about historical philosophical class and critical thinking. Oh, yeah, we never got into like, we never learned about like, okay, Socrates. Like is Socrates a philosopher? I can't remember. But yeah, it's like we didn't learn about stuff like that. But I think I was mainly taking more the logic classes because I thought it would be easier for me. Because like basically I think at least obviously philosophy has many different like a wide range of stuff, but specifically the logic stuff is definitely already in math. Like obviously like math is inherently logic. So that's the part I took because I just wanted easy electives. Like, come on, I was already having 2 majors. I wanted easy electives, so I just took those. But yeah, it's definitely really worthwhile. I was like, I'm taking one specifically where I don't have to write a paper. Is the walking encyclopedia is what you're referring to? What do you mean? Are you reading philosophy on university? I took a couple philosophy classes. I've been graduated for a while now, but I took a couple philosophy classes in university. Yes. You got my paper on Kantian ethics, and you're like a what's his name? Chidi. I watched The Good Place recently. But yeah. Oh my god, wait, it's been 4 years since I graduated university. I can't believe it's been that long. That's crazy. Because I graduated in 2021 in the spring. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. You've been thinking to take some classes too? Oh yeah, they're definitely worth taking. I think it's really valuable for sure. You're old now? Yeah, I always forget my age. I'm reaching the point where I keep forgetting how old I am. I think I'm 26. I'm like almost positive I'm 26. But every time I'm like slightly unsure. I'm like, am I 26? Am I 27? Am I 25? Like, I cannot remember. Walking encyclopedia is like the person who knows random facts and stuff about almost anything to the point where you wonder how they know this stuff. I mean, I think people have that with like certain subjects, you know? She's still sharp? I'm trying. Old. I know, Gwen. I don't know if you're feeling this as well, but like, I guess we're just old. But every time I call myself old on stream, everyone older than me is always really offended. Everyone in chat that's like older than me are like, come on, don't say that. Yeah, understandable. You just described yourself too. I'm not yeah, like I said, I'm not a fact person. You don't look old. I don't look old, but I feel old, you know? But I'm still getting mistaken for being younger. I'm gonna get carded for a while, I think. Yeah, it's very interesting. You hurt your neck and you feel about 80 because you can't turn right now? Oh no, what happened? Don't tell me you slept on it wrong. Yeah, that's annoying. I feel like if your neck hurt, that's the worst. Just try and gently massage it. I know Amija feels every day. Actually, my neck is quite stiff. Do you guys have this as well? You don't realize how stiff your neck is until you try dancing. And then you're like, wow, people are moving their neck so much. And then they like, yeah, it's like, I didn't realize how stiff my neck was. These days at my singing lesson, we are incorporating a lot of neck stretching. And actually really helps with like jaw tension, tongue tension, just general tension while singing. It's actually very helpful. I need to stretch my neck more. I was fine about 4 hours ago and then he randomly trapped a nerve. Damn, that's crazy that can just happen. Maybe just keep your head looking forward. Play Baldur's Gate. You need to tell us about your Baldur's Gate experience. How's it going? I see you've been playing a lot. I don't know if you finished. Ice? Ooh, yeah, I can ice it, yeah. I was thinking a hot pack, but I guess both work? I don't know. I'm more of a heat pack enjoyer. You only recently realized I know a lot about video game history, not because I actively studied it after the fact, but because I was a nerd who lived through it for the most part. I mean, that's valid. Like, we were talking about what subject we would pick for our trivia category, if we could pick one. And I was like, I don't know much about anything. I would probably pick One Direction. Because I was a fangirl who lived through it. I had to go home from work once because I got a kink in my neck. It's horrendous. Oh. You'll update in Discord later. I'm super close to finishing the game. Okay. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Ice at first, maybe alternate with heat after 24 hours. Okay. We gotta... Jimmy's the expert. We will take his word for it. I'm sure you've had your fair share of sore muscles. Will we choose Japanese cars or video games? Ooh, maybe chose Japanese cars. If this was a stream competition, I think Chicano will give you a run for your money. But video games, maybe everyone will give you a run for your money. So maybe you're better off with the more niche category. But would it be like video games, like in general? Like, do you think you know about all video games? Because like I feel like I would have many blind spots, right? Like I know about some games, but like a lot more than others, you know? Wizard, nice, nice. Wizard is fun. I was playing Bard on my first playthrough, but I was also playing as Gale. And then once we got to the later levels, I was like, damn, Gale gets way better spells than I do. I was like, why does he get all the cool spells, you know? Anything from the NES era onwards, up until the end of the PS1 era. So retro games, I see. Retro games specifically, like console / Japanese games. Blade Singing Wizard is probably my favorite subclass in the game. I always forget about the subclasses. So Jared is quickly rising in the rankings. I see. What was I gonna say? I was gonna go to the bathroom. That's what I was gonna say. I have to go to Pilates. Not that soon, so I'll go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Enjoy the Mallow Mart in the meantime. Give me a couple minutes. Okay, I'm back. Arcade games for that era too, when Namco, Sega, and Taito were the top of their game. I don't think I know that much of that. That would be like the last category. Oh jeez, I would know nothing. I would have trouble telling. If you gave me a game, I would have trouble saying what console it was on. But yeah, I did not participate in that era. Can't believe Miju left us again. I'm always leaving. I'm always leaving, but I always come back. What was the big thing about the Switch 2? Is it the same as the first, just a bigger screen? No, the screen is not necessarily bigger. That's the OLED. But the Switch 2 just has better hardware. It runs way better. Like this original Switch, the technological capabilities were about maybe like a phone. But the Switch 2 is more on par with like a PS4. So it's a lot more powerful. That's the main thing, I think. I think Mario Kart World is a good game, but I don't think it's worth the price, and there isn't any Switch 2 exclusive titles out right now. But I improved a ton of Switch game. One games to me that makes it worth it. Yeah, fair enough. I feel like for me, like I don't really buy a console until there's a game I want to play on it specifically. Um, and even then, I feel like I want a good amount of games to make the price worth it because it's fairly expensive to Switch 2. So I'm waiting till there's a couple games out on it. I don't I really like I don't think that Switch will have any issues with like having enough exclusive titles the same way that the PlayStation does. But I'm gonna wait because I don't necessarily even if I got one now, like I don't think I would play on it because I would um I'm busy. I was playing Deltarune and now I've been playing Night Rain as well. It's a cool shirt, thank you. It actually has like sleeves on it that like aren't connected. They're just like sleeves, and I used to tape them on. And then when I did like Just Dance streams, but I left the sleeves off today because it's warm. But welcome in law. Probably buy one in a few weeks. Nice. Did you hear about how the GameStop in New York punctured the screens of all the Switch like on purpose or like by accident? How do they puncture them all though? They're either very clumsy or very I don't know. They hate it. They're just stabbing it. Modular clothing for real. Where I don't know where this. I remember I wore this in Disneyland Paris, and then it got too hot, so I took off the sleeves, and then I put the sleeves in Elisa's backpack. I remember that, and then I almost forgot them as I left, and she was like, "Don't forget your sleeves." I was like, "Oh yeah, my sleeves." Um, Someone needs to make up modular smartphones. And you could just take like part of it with you. That could be fun. Like the Switch version of smartphones. You know, like there's a handheld version and a docked version perhaps. They stapled the customer's receipts to the box, and because of how the packaging was designed, the screens were right against the box. That's so stupid. But that wouldn't puncture, right? Unless they were using like a staple gun. Like they're probably just using a normal stapler, right? The staple scratch. Oh, they scratched. It didn't like stab through it, right? The Switch 2 box is not that solid, so they stapled the receipt. Stapled the receipt. Stapled the receipt to the box, and it pierced the box and hit the Switch 2 screen. Oh. I wouldn't think a stapler would do that much damage. And welcome in, Puppet. Hope you're doing well today. You're like equipped with the stuff you actually use and can ditch features you know you'll never use. I don't know how they would do that on a smartphone, yeah. Like today, I don't need the camera. I'm gonna remove the camera. Like, I guess. But the phone's already pretty small. Maybe if you wanted a phone with like a lot of different features, you know? Like you're like, oh, this phone has a printer on it. And I'm gonna take the printer with me. Okay, that's a terrible example, but like you know what I mean, right? Like you could have additional features on the phone. You can have additional features on the phone, and then you can work it out from there. Camera bumps are so huge these days. That's true. That's true. It's pretty. It's not that. Mine is not that bad. I have a 13. Only has 2 cameras. But it's definitely like when I put it down, it's like not flat, right? Like the phone like is not flat to the table. I'm pretty good. How about you? So it's a really nice day today. So that was a good thing. Someone's got to come up with that tech where you say you can have a nice camera, but I couldn't to ditch the camera, get a stylus or a G-force sensor. That could be cool. Could be cool. I feel like it would. I don't know how much of the market, like how many average people would use it though. Like I feel like the camera is something I always want on my phone, you know. But who knows? I don't know if there's a feature where I was like, man, I wish my phone had it. You know, I wish my phone had this. Then you could cut costs too, economies of scale. Well, you start that company, Hero. It's time. You could be the next Steve Jobs. You could make I don't know what you're gonna call it, but you could make something. You read that the new Google phones are coming in August. You might get some of those. Oh, okay. Are the Google phones really expensive? You've been coughing blood recently? Like a lot of blood? Because sometimes if my sinuses are really dry, there's a lot of like blood in like my sinuses and like my phlegm. That can be okay. Like it's like fine. But if you're bleeding a lot, you should go to the doctor. A little bit of blood sometimes is okay. But you might have some sort of infection. Depends. Maybe your allergies are like really bad or something. You need some venture capitalists. You do. All phones are roughly the same these days. Yeah, I agree. And welcome in, Stefan. Hope you're doing well today. You have tuberculosis? No, sometimes there's a bit of blood. It's okay. Like if you wake up, your throat is really dry, or like maybe your nose bled a bit in the night and it like went down your throat, you know? Like that's okay. You might cough up a bit of blood. I think it's only concerning if it persists, or if there's a lot of blood. Or if you have like other symptoms. Like if you have like if your throat feels like is being stabbed, or if you can't breathe, you know? Yeah, exactly what Hiro said. Because I've actually had that too. Like I think it's for me, it's like when the air is really dry. Like if the air is really dry, or if there's like a big change in humidity, I sometimes my sinuses start bleeding. Like I think for me it happens like when I go on airplanes sometimes. Or if the air is just if it's just really dry, like in the winter. Yeah, but we're not doctors, Puppet. Like we said, if it's a little bit of blood, it's probably fine if it goes away. But if it continues, or if it's a lot of blood, then go to the doctor. You're dehydrated once and you googled your symptoms and it said I had meningitis. Really? Googling symptoms should be like outlawed, honestly. It can be very destructive. I wonder how much doctors hate. Any doctors in chat? I wonder how much doctors hate Google. Like, I'm sure a lot of patients come in, they're like, okay, so I have these symptoms and I'm pretty sure I have this. And the doctor's like, no, you do not have that. Like, there's no way you have it. And they're like, no, I'm pretty sure the symptoms match exactly. Like, I'm sure they get those patients all the time. People who like self-diagnose probably drive the doctors crazy. Probably. But yeah, it's probably tough on them, you know. Luckily, I don't really have to deal with that. I do have to provide support to other software developers, and sometimes that can be annoying. Sometimes that can be annoying as well, but it's it's in a different way. Really, doctors use Google as well. They can't remember every disease. Yeah, but I think they have like some sort of background knowledge, you know, on the on the diseases. You go for a checkup tomorrow? Yeah, sounds good. Only Dr. House knows them all? True, Dr. House does know them all. I was just watching a video about House. About like what they did to how the show worked, and like how it succeeded, and like how it failed as well. It's a it was I do love House. And also that man's American accent is like crazy. Have you ever told Junior Des to go check Stack Overflow? I mean, yeah, I get like I do like I try to instill this in my brother who's also going into tech. I'm like, make sure before you ask a question, before you ask how to do something, Google it. Like if you ask a senior dev a question and it's like the answer's like right there in Google, and like I have to Google as well and it's like right there, then it's like, yeah, you should not ask those questions. You should look them up yourself first. Yeah, we do like to Google things here and there. Keep getting House and Wilson edits on Insta. Can't say I ever really shipped that personally. I feel like that's a really toxic relationship. I don't necessarily agree with that. That is, I think it's a popular ship though. I think actually the video talked about it. They're talking about, what do they call it? Like old man ships, something like that. They were like, oh, old man ships, House and Wilson. You're gonna bombard me with ship edits. Thank you. Would love that. Love shipping. Although I kind of understand because like I don't know their ages, but like I did ship like Sherlock and Watson on BBC Sherlock, you know? But like they were really going in for it, you know? I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing with that. So I guess House and Wilson have a similar dynamic, but I think it would be too toxic, you know? And Wilson is a bit, you get kind of like abused. He's already getting abused by House, but like he'll get even more abused by House, you know? Bert and Irving. Oh, true. Old man ships Bert and Irving would be number one. I forgot about that. Yeah. Sometimes you need a good old man ship, you know? Wilson is too nice. Yeah, he doesn't deserve that, yeah. As much as I love House, like, as much as I love House, he would be like the worst partner. So like, let's not inflict that, you know? House and Wilson are literally Sherlock and Watson though. But I feel like House does worse things to Wilson than Sherlock ever does to Watson. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I have rose tinted ship goggles. But like, I think it's I think their dynamic is not like it's like based on that, but I don't think their dynamic is quite the same. I do love Wilson though. House is a great show. I think like up until I can't remember what season it is, but you guys know like the stuff with like Amber. Up until that, I think that was really like the peak, and then after that, it was like, what is going on? You know, like I was like, don't know what's going on anymore. They kind of like broke the status quo of the show, which is good. But like, and it was really really good episodes, but then like after that, it was like this show was a bit fumbling. Wilson being a serial cheat. Oh my god, I forgot about that actually. So he's not that good of a person. It's been a while since I watched House. I forgot about. He did cheat on his wives. Like not, he didn't have multiple wives in a row, like at the same time, but they're in a row. Yeah, that's a. Or did he have multiple wives? Or did he just cheat many times on the one wife? I can't remember. It's been a long time. And then I remember like, do you guys remember Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy was in House? I'm like, man, after like that peak, like everything after that was like a fever dream. I was like, who are these people? What were they doing? Like why was Lin-Manuel Miranda on House? Oh my god. Wilson and his harem. Yeah. He was like I feel like yeah, I guess House was a bit more upfront with his like badness, you know? Like yeah, he obviously was a very not a perfect person, and he had a lot of bad traits, but I think he wore them on his sleeve while Wilson presented himself as a good person, but in reality he had a lot of he also has a lot of darkness and like bad things that he's done. But they're all very interesting characters. I think that's the main thing, right? Like everyone except Foreman, sorry. Everyone except Foreman were very, especially in the original cast, up until like, you know, like 13 and who else? Like all those people, like that group, the second group of doctors up until they left, everyone up until then was very, very interesting. Google says Wilson has 3 ex-wives. Oh, okay. And he cheated on all 3? he needs to stop getting married, you know? Like if you can't stop cheating on your wife, you gotta just stop getting married, you know? Just go live your life and don't get married. Welcome back, Ratsi. We're talking about House, the show. If you're wondering why we're talking about cheating, it's House. Um, yeah, that was a crazy show. It's a good show. I still really it was one of my favorite shows growing up. Um, but I don't know how I'd rank it now. It's still a good show. It's still a great show. But then like yeah, every episode has a similar format. No, the videos watching pointed that out. It's like someone comes in with symptoms, you know, and then they're like trying to figure out what's going on. Like maybe there's some sort of like there's some sort of like House doesn't want to take this case, and then he has to take this case, and then like you know, they break into the person's house and then they figure out what it is and you're like, whoa, I found it, this is what they have, and then they get better for a bit and then they get worse and then you're like, oh my god, it wasn't that thing, and then House does something crazy and then they figure it out. House figures it out in the end. That's every episode. It's a bit formulaic at times, but it's compelling. Yeah, I feel like the formula does work. It's not necessarily like that it doesn't weigh it down. It doesn't weigh it down. And like I said, yeah, the characters are very interesting. And like a chase the same after that kiss. Oh my, honestly, I didn't even remember that until that video pointed it out, and I was like, he did that. I forgot. If you guys don't know, I mean, spoilers for a really old show. They have this cancer patient, this girl. She's like 11. She's really young. Okay, she's like 10, 11. She's really young and she's dying. Okay, like she's terminal. And she's really upset that she is gonna die before she gets her first kiss. Okay, and then after like a long back and forth or whatever, and they're like bonding with this patient, she's dying. Chase, a 30-year-old man, a doctor, he kisses her because she like begs him to do it, and he doesn't do it in a way where he doesn't like enjoy it. He doesn't necessarily want to do it, but he just like, I guess, feels bad for her and does it. It's not necessarily like he's like a pedophile or anything like that, but it's like still really weird. Still really, really weird. It's so strange. Do you like medical dramas in general? I don't think I've watched another one aside from House. I can't think of one. I never watched like Scrubs or anything like that. So I've pretty much only watched House. So I wouldn't say I like medical dramas in general. I think House was the medical aspect was interesting. But the medical aspect was interesting, but I think the character part was more compelling. No, they didn't date. She was dying. That's a crazy plot point for episode. I know. Was it really more about the human drama? Yeah, I think it's more about the like House as a person. He's like a very flawed character. I think episode by episode, it's definitely about the medical aspect. Like they're solving the case of diagnosing the patient. But the overarching arc about the episode is about House and his about his vices and his issues. He has a lot of issues. But yeah, there's also the episode also reminded me. There's also the episode of in a similar vein but less wholesome. There's an episode of a boy, and he was like, I think he was also dying. I literally cannot remember. There was this boy. He was like 14. He was like dying, and he was upset that he never got to see boobs before he died or something like that. And then one of the doctors like flashes him at the end. I can't remember like what No, Chase didn't kiss this boy. Thank God, Chase was not part of this. I can't remember which doctor it was though. But yeah, I was like, that's weird too. That's super weird. And I forgot about that. I was like, who did that? Which doctor did that? I don't think it was it's from a different show. Oh, it was on The Good Doctor. Okay. That makes more sense. Oh, I was watching it wasn't the video about House, and it was a video about medical shows in general. That's the one. Yeah, okay. I was like, I couldn't remember like who did that on House, because I was like, Cameron wouldn't do that. 13 wouldn't do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It sounds so unhinged. It is unhinged. Like, what the hell? Like, who cares if this 14-year-old dies without seeing boobs? Like, Google it. Like, you have a phone. You know the story arc of the cop House treated so badly he basically dedicates his life to destroying House. Yeah, some of the story arcs on House were really crazy. Like, I can't even remember. Like, there's so much medical malpractice happening, you know. And welcome in, Rafe. What did I walk into? We were talking about House MD, the show. 13-year-olds kissing 30-year-olds kissing 11-year-olds, and the other doctor flashing. I guess it was two different shows. So medical drama is always like this. Was 13 just a nickname? Yes. They actually, this is a really interesting season of House. It's actually really well done. They basically have like Survivor on House, because all his team leaves because he's such a jerk. He's a terrible person. But like House, yeah, all of his original team leaves. So then he ends up having like a Survivor competition for rehiring a team of like 2 or 3 people. And they all get assigned numbers at the start, because like he can't remember everyone's name, and she has the number 13, and he just continuously calls her 13 and doesn't remember her name because he's very misogynistic. But House is like when you look back on it, he's very problematic, but he's also like equally terrible to everyone. So like you can't even say like, is he racist? Like, he says racist things, but he will say that to everyone. So it's like, I don't think he has any specific agenda. I think he's just like, you know, enjoys being a jerk. 13 did flash. She did. But it wasn't to a patient, it's to a different doctor. Oh, that's fine. They're all adults, I guess. It's as long as it was consensual. The ethics committee at Princeton planes for husband work cut out for that, for real. We never got an episode about that. The HR team struggling to, like, there's no way House would be allowed to continue. You hated Amber during the Survivor episodes? Yeah. I mean, I respect Amber, but like, I think I liked her better when she came back as not his doctor. And the whole arc at the end with Wilson and Amber was really well done, I think. Remember the guy in the first episode, he's trying to get painkillers and House just gives him mints? At the end of the episode, he comes back asking for a refund thanks to placebo. I mean, yeah. If I was House, I'd do the same thing though. Like, I understand. Like Triple S, with me knowing not their names except for Nucky, so I just call them numbers 1 to 23. I mean, if there's 23 members, understandable. But at the end, like, House only has like 3 doctors working for him, so but he still calls her 13. I actually can't remember her name. What the hell was her name? Her name was Remy Hadley. They just announced with an abrasive personality they exist. You worked for one before. I mean, yeah, you don't want to know him IRL, right? Like, you don't want to know House IRL, but he's really entertaining on screen for sure. Your favorite segments are when House works at clinic and has to deal with idiot Paige. Some of them are so, but that's probably like realistic, no? Like, people probably come in like that. But yeah, it's satisfying to see his bad behavior used for good against annoying people, you know? And lock him in, feed. Do you ever put your head into the wrong hole, that shirt? Yes. Sometimes I'm like, there's this one, and I'm like, it's confusing. Sometimes I try to put my arm in here. I understand that. 13 lost a bet, so she flashed someone on their team. I forgot his name. Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. I love 13 when I watched it originally. I was like, damn, Olivia Wilde, so cool. But now she was in all that drama with the "Don't worry, darling." Don't even know what's going on with her. Um, we go back to the good old days where she was just 13, and she was cool. We just probably did the wrong head hold today. No, I was actually fine today. I checked. I checked before I put my head in. Cool 13-year-old? No, her name is 13. She was cool. And welcome in, Angel. How are you? Howdy doody to you too. This one lady was getting a new inhaler for asthma every 2 weeks. Not because she thought it was bad, because she was applying it like perfume. Yeah, yeah. The doctors must deal with patients like that all the time. This dude got rejected in the makeup aisle at Target. What? He went to the makeup aisle to ask someone out? Isn't that really weird? Because, like, if I got asked out in the makeup aisle, I would think that someone was prowling the makeup aisle for women. You know, like, why was he there? Maybe he was buying makeup too. I don't know. But I feel like if I got asked that, I'd be like, why are you here? You know? Did a thing for Olivia Wilde, but not so much anymore. Yeah, I don't really know what she was doing with the drama. I don't know what's going on with her, but yeah, she is gorgeous. She is so beautiful. Makeup face cleaner aisle. Yeah, maybe he was buying some face wash. She was like, I'm married, sorry. That's not that bad of a rejection. Did he take it well? Was he like, oh, okay, you know? Like, that's probably fine. You got rejected by BB for going on stage, so I get it. Statistically, I wasn't getting picked though. I thought BB picks a girl and then she like kisses it. Maybe not kisses the girl, but like she does something, right? Does she pick guys now? Is she balancing it out? Like she's like, this tour I'll pick girls, this tour I'll pick guys. Equal opportunities. Don't a lot of guys do makeup tutorials, but like not the average person is not doing makeup tutorials. That's why I never ask girls that. You don't want to look creepy. I mean, I think doing it in a store is like, I don't know. I think you need to do it in a situation. Like if you're asking someone out in public, you need to be doing it you need to pick the place. Like if it's like a bar, like fair game. Like that's a social situation. You could ask someone out at a bar. But like if you're at like, I don't know, the cemetery. If you're at the cemetery, don't ask someone. Like there's a time and place. There's a time and place. He was like, okay, whatever. They just went on. That's fair enough. She picked a guy, and he wasn't very good. Good at what? What did he have to do? The girls I like don't go to bars. Well, I mean, like whatever social situation you like whether it's like a gaming event, a book club, like social places. If you want to meet people in public, you gotta go to those places. I avoid those places because I'm staying away from people. Ask them on Twitch. No, don't ask them on Twitch. Asking the goth chick out at the grave. Okay, if they're not there to mourn someone, they're just hanging out, then I guess you can ask them. Imagine shooting your shot at the cemetery. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. I missed my husband. Does that mean you're single? I mean, yeah, they're single. Yeah, they lost their husband. It's time. It's funny and all, but the answer she asked if he had a girlfriend. The only answer should be no. The only answer should be no. You're looking for a boyfriend. Oh no! Pause. You looking for a boyfriend? Question. Is that what you mean? Hanging out at a graveyard is a red flag. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, maybe you're into people who hang out at the graveyard, and you also hang out at the graveyard. So like, you gotta meet like-minded people, you know. But if you don't like hang at the graveyard, then don't ask people out at the graveyard because they're gonna be like, "Hey, want to go to the graveyard together?" And you're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't really like going." You know, like you don't want to end up in that situation. In Stardew Valley, doesn't Abigail have a cemetery cutscene? Yeah, she's hanging out in the graveyard. Into people at the graveyard. I think those are necrophilia. No, not the people buried in the graveyard. Don't dig those people up. Um, like you have to understand your looks too before shooting a shot. But I feel like that's very subjective. Like you don't know what people are into, right? Like I don't think there's an objective scale of looks. Like I think people have different tastes, right? Like some people, um, yeah, like people just have very different tastes. You might be surprised. You might be surprised um, what they're into. You know, like obviously present yourself as best in the way you want to be perceived. Like don't go to the bar when you're really stinky. Stuff like that. I think, and if you find someone interesting, if you find them attractive, then you can ask them and let them choose for themselves, as long as you're not bothering them or being too persistent. It's probably fine, especially if you're in the social situation that I mentioned. Getting to the point where I don't care about looks, you just want someone reliable. I mean, I think it's understandable. I don't think looks are everything. Your friend called this one guy hot. And I know the scriptures say judge, not lest you be judged, but he was not a 10 at all. Everyone has different tastes. Like everyone has different tastes. But like especially between men and women, I have this all the time. Like I would talk to my guy friends about I'm like, oh, I have such a crush on this celebrity, and they're like, really, that guy? Like it's people have widely different tastes. Well, based on my shots, I would say looking like I'm 7 years older than I am has not helped. Oh no. Well, Ratzi, we told you, time for the skincare, time for this sunscreen. You gotta work on that. Punctuality is a top 3 trait in a partner. Fair enough. Fair enough. No crush on Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, that's a man crush. It was a celebrity crush. Yeah, it was Adam Driver, Kylo Ren. The guys never understand. Like a lot of girls are like, oh yeah, I feel you. Like Gwen knows, like she gets it. But like a lot of my male friends are like, they're like, you like Adam Driver? They don't get it. Who else? Who else? I don't know. Like I feel like it's not. It's all the time. Not the time. Not the thing you expect. Um, he's no Ryan Reynolds, but you get it. Nice. Male gaze versus female. Exactly. Oh, Pedro Pascal. Yeah, Pedro Pascal's really handsome. I feel like everyone likes Pedro Pascal though. Oh, Sydney Sweeney versus Sabrina Carpenter. Oh no. Actually, I think they're both pretty, but they're not. Both of them are not my type. I gotta be a contrarian here. Who would I choose? I don't even know. I don't know what this category is. Blonde people? Is this a blonde people category? I don't know. You like BB? I like BB too. You're more of a Kate Upton man. Damn. Okay. Kristen Stewart? Really? No. I've never had a crush on Kristen Stewart. I would say, I don't know. I mean, you guys know my number one female crush is Kazuha. Like, I love Kazuha. I think she's beautiful. Love of my life. Also love Jenny. I don't know. Sabrina mentioned. Yeah. They're not my type either. I'm not into humans, as we all know. Yeah, Draconian. These days, love of his life. Minthara. Even back in the Twilight days, I get it. We did just basic female crush. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Umbi is my K-pop pick. True. Not Vi. Okay, true Vi. Oh, true. Okay, if I. Yeah. I love Vi. They're gonna be a shade of green. You could do purple. Oh, green or purple. Okay. What about what if they're really blue? How about blue? a big celebrity crush of mine was Emmy Rossum. Oh, she's pretty. Even though she was not, I was learning a song from Phantom of the Opera, but her version is like not it. She gets outsung by every other Christine, but that's not part of it. Okay, take care, Hero. Thanks for stopping by. I gotta go pretty soon as well. I don't get the why so many folks unironically have crushes on Nicolas Cage. What? I can't get behind that. You don't get why so many folks unironically. Oh, sorry, I just read that. Mintara, you like Mintara too? Oh god. We just gotta crush those Pilates. I do. Mintara's the actual waifu. Right. I can't get behind that, I'm sorry. You guys know I only have eyes for Gil. Gil is my guy. Gil's my man. I tried to date someone else. Currently in my current playthrough, Shadowheart is like in love with me, but kind of secretly want Gil. For some reason, Shadowheart like falls in love with you after like 2 conversations, which kind of put me off to her, honestly. Like I talked to her like twice, and then she was like, I was like, how do you feel about it? And she was like, I'm beyond just liking you. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, Shadowheart, we met yesterday. But other than that, I do like Shadowheart. She comes on a bit too fast. I think they need to slow down her romance progression. That put me on to her. That was you growing up. You were on the same page. You were like, I'm in love with you too, Shadowheart. Let's get married. Understandable. I mean, I do. She's hard to resist. I can't. But she's just she just comes on very quickly. But yeah, I probably have to go pretty soon. Also, next Saturday I agreed to Pilates like half an hour earlier as well. So that was I just felt like she was like, oh please, can we have Pilates half an hour earlier next week? I was like, okay, fine. I got peer pressured, but we'll just stream extra long on Sunday. You romance a Starion for your first one. I heard he has a really good romance as well. I couldn't romance him because he like didn't like me that much. Every time I did something, he would disapprove of me. So it didn't work. And the first time I actually didn't get the cutscene of him trying to bite you. I think you need to get certain cutscenes by long resting. Until it locks you out of the, because it will lock you out of the romances. So I actually didn't get the option the first time. I like his hot, but she's got too much golden retriever energy for me. You need the step on me energy from Intara, I see. You get a Wednesday makeup stream since you bailed. I'll be streaming this Wednesday. Remember that tiefling bard from Act 1? No, I get you. I hear what you're saying. I understand. I just gotta be really sassy for a stranger. I think I was too nice. He didn't. Every time I did something, he disapproved. But Gil and Shadowheart loved me. But yeah, I will leave it here for today because I need to run out the door. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today. I will be streaming tomorrow for a bit longer. I have to go to Pilates. But tomorrow we'll be streaming same time, 9 a.m. Pacific as usual. And yes, I will stream on Wednesday this time. I was just really deep in Deltarune last week, but I'm done now, so it's all good. I'm leaving again. I'm sorry for talking. You'll have your Switch too to keep you company. And yeah, join the Discord if you haven't already. Oh, I will have good gains, hopefully. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And have a good weekend if I don't see you, but hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!